live, starting at 9 o'clock. So hopefully people can start trickling into the chat. About 15 minutes until we start. Or about 13 minutes. The clock won't tick down unless I'm actually viewing the browser window. We should have a couple of people joining us over the course of the day. I'll be commenting on the games. We have a ton of people, 120. The high school championship from a couple months ago only had 45. So we're getting on up there with our number count here. Almost all of the players have a provisional rating, either because their accounts on Lichess are brand new or because they haven't played games on Lichess at this time control. Hi, Emily. We are
Good morning.
currently live. Yeah, you can go ahead and turn your video back on whenever you want.
I am. It says that I cannot turn on my video because the host has stopped it,
Okay. Here.
which is a good thing. Thank you.
Right. Let me turn that back on for you. You should be able to turn it on now. There we go.
Okay. Hi. Hello, Jonathan.
So you can go ahead and introduce us.
Hey, Jonathan. Um, Jonathan Beatty. Am I saying your last name correctly?
Beatty. It's a long A. So.
Beatty.
Yeah.
Beatty, long A. Hey, Jonathan. Thank you so much for the time and energy and effort that you have put into making this Twitch channel happen and the live commentary. DeSoto County Schools is so appreciative. And also, Alex King set up this tournament for us, and we appreciate him too. Both of you are local chess coaches and chess enthusiasts in the area, and we are indebted. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Emily Nelson. I work with DeSoto County Schools in many ways, but today primarily with the chess team and support that program in action. So, Jonathan, what are we going to be doing today?
We're just going to be watching some of these games, and I'll be reviewing them. We'll be talking to some people that'll be coming in over the course of the day, some locals from the DeSoto County area, chess players, which should be enjoyable. I'm not much of a talker. I'm more of a chess and tech guy.
That's
but
right.
I guess I can run my mouth when I need to.
Well, nobody's ever accused me of not being a talker, so I can when I need to. But I think there's a difference between people who play chess and chess players. And I'm a person who plays chess, and you are a chess player. So I will leave the chess commentary to you, except the school teacher in me will have to chime in and give some elementary feedback from time to time. But for the most part, I'm going to let you handle the chess commentary appreciatively. In 25 or 30 minutes, Craig Siraj, I hope I have not slaughtered his last name, will be joining us. And he is here in many capacities. Yes, he is an outstanding local chess player that we are very proud of, but also he is the parent of a student competing today. And he also volunteers as his school's local chess coach / dad from time to time. And so he can comment about his support of this event in many different ways.
That's great.
And I think he will join you for a little commentary as time allows throughout the day too.
Yeah, I've been playing chess with Craig for a long time. He's come up to Memphis tournaments and played in quite a few of them. So
That's good.
his rating is I think about 1800. I forgot exactly what it is. He always gives me a tough game.
Yeah.
I think I've won most of them, but they
Yeah,
haven't been easy.
his rating, if I had a rating, his would be much higher than mine. So uh, he's an impressive fellow in many ways. And I may say this again later, but Craig is just a couple of years too old to have participated in this tournament. When this district-wide tournament started, we started with fourth and fifth graders, and at that time he was in high school. And then we added a grade every year, so he graduated before we got to the high school teams. So Craig never actually had an opportunity to represent South Haven High School in the chess team at the district level, and I hate that because he would I'm sure have given me lots of memories, as I have so many from the kids that I've watched grow up playing chess around here. But he's back now as a dad, and his daughter is enjoying this opportunity to compete at the local level and represent her school on the chess team.
Yeah, she's a quite strong player actually.
I think she is. Yes, she is. She's done very well, and we're very proud of her too. I asked a former DeSoto County school student, who was a while the highest rated female in the state of Mississippi, to join us sometime around noon today as she gets out of class. She's now a master's degree student at the University of Oklahoma. So she'll be between classes when she calls in. But Logan Schoonover spent about 8 years here in DeSoto County and earned some nice opportunities because she was the highest rated female at one point in time. So we've had a few that are in Madison's category over the years.
Good. 6.5 minutes till we start.
That's right. Well, I hope that some of our schools are tuning in now. I am going to pay attention to some emails and see if I can answer some questions, and I'll be back shortly, but I'll be listening.
All right. I'll be trying to pay attention to the Twitch chat as we go, but I mean, it's a lot to keep track of. If I'm looking down, I'm looking down at my phone. I have the Twitch chat open.
Yeah, whatever you think is best is what I'll do.
So. See, I'm just going through and seeing who has ratings in other categories. I see a couple of the kids are playing games against the computer.
Up underneath there.
Jonathan, we've had a problem. A couple of our schools, DeSoto Central Middle School and South Haven Middle School, have been automatically booted off of the La Chess website, and they are trying to jump back in right now. We feel certain it's not the DeSoto County school system. We think it's something with La Chess because the same thing happened to me about an hour ago. And that was before we had very many people online at all.
Was there
using up our bandwidth?
Error message of some kind?
Yes, it was we got a message. The one that came up on my screen said something like, La Chess unexpectedly closed this connection. But we've got about 20 kids or 24 kids playing at both of those schools, and they were just sort of auto booted. But I think they'll be able to get back in before our deadline.
They
We were
should
up to,
be.
we were up to about 120 players, so I don't know
Yeah.
where we are now.
They're still in the tournament. No one's left the tournament. They should be able to just refresh the page
Okay. Well,
if something
hopefully,
happened.
hopefully they're listening to us on Twitch right now, and we'll know that, and I'll send them an email too.
All right. I see Craig has joined the chat. Craig, you should be able to start video and unmute whenever you want. Hello. Hi, Craig. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself? You should be able to unmute first.
You have to forgive me. This is actually the first time I've used Zoom. So
Oh no, it's hard to believe.
yeah, my
Teachers are getting real familiar with Zoom.
Can y'all see me? Okay.
Yeah.
I have no.
I can see you, Greg. Yes.
Perfect.
I'll
we use
say hello to
Microsoft
you if I can.
Teams.
Hey, Greg, can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Hey, well, I'm going to take myself off of the video now because I'm multitasking over here, but I'm listening in.
Okay.
All right. So, you want to introduce yourself as a local player and
Sure.
maybe tell?
So, my name is Craig Siraj. I used to teach chess at the where my daughter used to go to school at Oak Grove in Hernando. Currently, with COVID, we haven't been doing much chess lessons, so I've just been playing locally at the clubs. I am a former state champion in Mississippi. I think 2016 and 2017, the span right there. But yeah, so my daughter is in this tournament, so I'm curious how she's doing. But that's about it.
I know she's a strong player. We've seen her play before. I think last
She
year,
can hold her.
recently, she tied for the first place
She did.
championship.
The
And this-
first year
this-
that she did it, she went undefeated, and there was a two-way tie. Two people went undefeated, but on tie break, she came in second. So
Yes, I understand that. But this year, because we're virtual and the trophies won't be given out until after they're ordered, we're not going to worry about that. All of those
Yay.
undefeated will get first place trophies, and we're not going to do
Awesome.
the calculation. And this year, because they're going to be ordered after the fact, the students' names are engraved on the trophies. So
oh wow,
that
that's
means
awesome.
that's a nice little extra on the hardware this time.
Yeah, that is.
We are almost definitely going to have multiple undefeated players.
I replied.
5 rounds. See, 2 to the 5th.
It's 32.
Yeah. So, you would need at least 7 rounds to have a clear first. So
Yes, and I know in this virtual environment, we probably could pull that off, but this is about the 25th year of the tournament. I'm ashamed to say that we didn't ever keep up for those first 10 years, so we're not. I'd have to sit down and think about it for a few minutes, but about the 25th year of the tournament, and we're so driven by the clock and the buses that it's just we simply can't go past 5 rounds, but. And we didn't anticipate ever having to do this virtually. And without people like Jonathan and Alex King, we would not be able to do this virtually. And in just a few moments, this tournament will start. It's set to automatically start. And if you're not in, we can't do anything about it. We're so sorry. But you can join us for round 2.
yeah, I'll keep an eye on the team just in case someone joins. They should be able to late join, but only for the second round, I think. I think the third would be
I think
too
that's
late.
right. I think for the second round, at least that's how it was when we had the high school virtual tournament. They could join us for the second round, but not after the games were paired.
Right.
So it looks like we're off and running.
Yeah, let's see.
I will back out and let you gentlemen talk for a few minutes. Craig,
Okay.
I'd love to hear a little bit more about you, though. I understand you started playing chess as a child. Did your parents play chess? Is it a family tradition, or?
It is not a family tradition. My dad taught me to play. He taught me how the pieces moved, and he could always beat me, and so I didn't like that. So when I was in I would say eighth grade or ninth grade. I went and I bought a book. It was The Idiot's Guide to Chess by Patrick
Oh,
Wolf.
yes, I own a
And
copy. Yes.
don't let that fool you. It's not for idiots. It literally takes you from not knowing how to play to being able to play in your first tournament. And so I read that cover to cover, studied it, went and played in my first tournament, and I don't believe my dad has beaten me since reading that book. So that was kind of my motivation. And then once I got into tournament play, I think I came in fifth in my first tournament, and the bug had bitten me by then because I got a trophy, and I just wanted to keep playing and keep playing. And so we joined a local club, the Memphis Chess Club, back in the, I guess what,
Yes.
mid '90s.
Yes. You
So a
remember
very long
Mr.
time ago.
Chess, Mr. Press, but he was called Mr. Chess, and his cohort ran many scholastic tournaments
Yep.
for many years. Yeah.
Yeah. So the chess scene in DeSoto County back then wasn't what it is now. Like you said, this tournament's 25 years old, so that puts I'm 37, so that would mean I was what 17. So I was just coming out of it when this when DeSoto County started getting all their stuff together for chess.
Right.
But I get to partake in it a little bit since now my children are in it.
That's
So
exactly right.
I'm
There's
fortunate for that.
the few that are just a couple of years younger than you are legacies, and so their children are our legacies. But when you were in high school, we were starting it with the fourth and fifth grade, and we did that for several years with a lot of help from Mike Stewart, who hopefully will be joining us later today. And then we grew one grade a year till we got to high school, and so you were gone by the time we got to high school, and I hate that.
I was, but I was still competing in high school, so I
Mhm.
still played in scholastic tournaments, mainly in Memphis. I did some in Water Valley, Mississippi.
Yes,
I was the only chess player I knew of at South Haven High School,
I think you
um,
may have been.
but
Although
I mean, it
Pam Cooper,
wasn't
I don't know if you remember Pam Crisp and Pam Cooper, but I think they did teach a little bit of chess over at Greenbrook Elementary, if you went through there.
I don't
Uh,
remember them. I
hmm
did go through Greenbrook actually,
hmm
but
And
there wasn't chess at Greenbrook when I was there. Now,
hmm
granted, I say that, but I didn't get into Spotlight. Chess was mainly reserved for the Spotlight kids as
hmm
far as teaching it, and I did not get into Spotlight until I was in seventh grade.
Oh, I hate
So
that.
I would have just missed it.
And unidentified. But we try to make sure that everyone understands that we do not, that the Spotlight program doesn't own chess. Chess is
Right.
international and owned by everyone. We try to make sure all the Spotlight kids learn how the pieces move. It's a great strategic thinking game to help students learn strategy and strategic thinking. But we want anyone in the school who wants to be on the team to have a chance to earn a spot on the team.
Definitely.
hmm And but are you the same age as Beth Gardner or Beth
I
Oles?
am.
Go
We
Gardner.
Beth Olds, yeah, Beth Gardner now. My wife
She's
actually was just talking to them yesterday. I believe it
yes,
was yesterday at
she's one of our spotlight
gymnastics.
teachers and a
Yep.
former student of mine. And she would have been in about the sixth grade when we were starting to talk about chess. So
I was, but I was still in high school, so we went to church
yes,
together.
yes. Beth went through. Beth started out at South Haven and transferred to Horn Lake. So
Okay.
y'all didn't go to high school together, but
Right. But we
that
went to church
class
together, so we knew each other
was
well.
Josh Bailey, and
Oh
um,
yeah, Josh Bailey.
Josh Bailey was in that grade. Um,
Now Josh
Stephanie
Bailey was
Busby,
at South Haven.
he was, but
Stephanie
he was in the
Busby was
same
at South
grade.
Haven. I did go through
Okay.
Greenbrook actually,
No,
but there
Josh,
wasn't Greenbrook when I was.
yeah, Josh Bailey was my student in that class over at South Haven Elementary. So
Okay.
he's that age. So, well,
Yep.
there's a game up in front of us, Jonathan. Maybe there's a little commentary
I'm just
opportunity.
clicking around and looking at some of the games. In the first couple of rounds, we're going to get a lot of beginners paired with higher rated players, and so we
Yep.
won't have games that really have strategic depth to comment on until probably the second or third round. We will see. There's a lot of players who are late, who haven't made the first move. People are complaining in the chat about it. It's just that'll happen. They'll get booted if they don't play.
How many students do we have currently actively playing?
We should have about 120 in this tournament, but some of them were booted out this morning, and we're having trouble with that.
Okay.
Apparently, most of the DeSoto Central team is not there. They may be there and not realize they're there because there's some sort of an issue, but it's
Okay.
not something I could fix from here. So, if they can't get in, we will let them join us for the second round.
Yeah, they may have to press the join button again because it'll push them out.
Mm-hmm. Wendy, I hope you're Mrs. Hunt. I hope you're listening in and can tell them to do that. I know, and South Haven's telling me they've been kicked out for the third time. So we are having technical difficulties everywhere.
Hey, Jonathan, can you scroll down just one little click?
Sure, like this.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
All of the students are they currently at school or at home?
Uh, Most are at school. There are a few students who are learning virtually, and they were allowed to earn a spot on the team just like anyone else. So for those students who are quarantined because of exposure to COVID, or their parents have chosen for them to just be online students at this time, we have some of those who are on the team. But most of the students, of our 120 students, most of them, I would say probably 100 of them, are at their schools. And like I said, I don't think this is a bandwidth problem, because I'm here at the Central Services and I was kicked off earlier, and we have ample bandwidth here, especially at 7:30 in the morning. So
It shouldn't. Lichess doesn't really consume a lot of data. I assume if they're getting booted, it's too many concurrent users behind a single IP or some other networking thing going on.
Okay.
I mean, the Twitch stream does consume a lot of bandwidth, but that's not what anyone's being booted from.
No, that's not it. And we probably only have one Twitch stream per school. So that shouldn't be the problem.
Right.
Let me see. I may go share that information. So you think it's too many IP addresses hitting? Say that again, Jonathan.
It's just a networking. If they're all behind the same network and they're all trying to connect at once, Lichess might think they're getting a flood of connections from the same computer. But I mean, this didn't happen with the high school.
No, but we only
championship.
had about 45 or 50 kids playing in the high school too, and we have 120 playing here. So I don't
just
know
try
that there's-
refreshing, but don't press refresh over and over again because that's just going to make the problem worse.
Okay.
But they should be able to refresh and get in at some point.
Well, hopefully our teachers are listening to the Twitch channel and are taking that advice. The issue seems to be primarily with South Haven Middle School and DeSoto Central Middle School, and they both have teams of 24. So they're two of the biggest schools in the tournament. So not all of our schools chose to play 24 kids. So, but both of those schools took their teams to the maximum. All right. Well, I will drop out again for a second and be back in shortly.
I'm trying to give some tech support in the Twitch chat at the moment. It looks like Craig's video is frozen.
Is it?
Yeah, your camera is frozen.
Okay. Let me see.
Try turning it off and back on.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. How's that?
That's a little better, yeah. Let's see. If you actually want to click around and look at games, I can give you remote control of my screen.
No, it's fine. I
Okay,
was just watching a particular game
it's
that just finished.
Sure.
problem is
Mhm.
it's
Are you listening?
There's definitely some games that are looks like they're just starting. They're still in the opening phase. So I guess people are joining in and being able to start their games.
Yeah, it looks like a few of them are getting in. People are saying the site can't be reached. Hernando has half of the kids being kicked out at the moment. They still have time. I
Really?
mean, these will tick all the way down to zero. So if they get in with 10 minutes left, then I guess they have 10 minutes to play the game.
Oh, good. So the early disconnection that Lee Chess does has been prevented.
That it does that in arenas because that way
Okay.
everyone can get back in. But in Swiss events, you can't start the next round until everyone's done
All of
anyway.
them are
So
finished. Yeah.
they just tick it all the way
I didn't
down.
know if the automatic timeout, like whenever your opponent disconnects after so many minutes, it will say you can claim victory.
Right.
Hopefully that's been disabled or it's not being utilized.
Yeah, it's saying Lichess took too long to respond. Uh,
That's bizarre.
yeah, that's definitely some sort of local. They said I think it's Lichess because they can search other things, but if it took too long to respond, I don't know how the DeSoto filtering system works. Or
I know some people at Hernando Middle have played and finished their games because one of them was just on the screen and they played all the way to checkmate. So I'm not sure. I mean, if you would think if one computer in the lab at a school can get to it, then the proxy settings or the any type of restriction settings would be universal for all of them. So
yeah, I agree. Some of the kids are spamming in the chat, and so I'm just going through and muting them
yeah,
one at a time. They can come back in 10 minutes. Um, yeah, we do have a couple of the games have finished, but not many. So I wonder exactly how many can't get in. It seems like it's quite a lot. Well,
were there any issues with the high school tournament?
no, but that was a much smaller
Yeah.
group. Only like 45. Sorry, let me go back down.
What's the time control?
It's 25 plus 5.
Okay.
So,
Nice.
yeah, it's a decent amount of time. It's the same they used for the high school tournament.
Interesting. Yeah. The last year the elementary schools they used I think it was 15 plus 5. Was it 15? Yeah, it was 15 plus 5 or 15 delay 5.
For in person? That makes
Yes.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a while there because we have to call the games each. Like you have to raise your hand and someone's got to come over and call the game, and it just takes a while.
Right, right. Someone said all of the Hernando players are working there.
Hello?
Hello.
Greg, are you still there?
Yes.
Hey, y'all are not a very talkative bunch. Um, from what I understand, only 2 players are on at DeSoto Central Middle School, which is disheartening because I know that that's a strong team and they do enjoy chess. I'm not sure about South Haven Middle School, but I've sent the principals a request asking that if students are not online because of some sort of instructional reason, if they're just trying out a new device, to please limit some of that. And maybe that'll help. If it's a bandwidth issue, um, that should help. So we will see. Um, but I do hate anytime students are disappointed, for any reason. But technical difficulties are just beyond our control.
Yeah,
I do hate that.
I'm advising them to get in touch with like school IT or somebody.
Yes, we've been in touch with them here at this office, and that's what their suggestion was to if we could limit some of the just random device use, that might free up a little bit of bandwidth. DeSoto County Schools is transitioning into a one-to-one device school district, which we are so pleased to be doing. We have been wanting to make this move for years, and COVID and some extra federal resources that are being given to districts for this sort of purposes is allowing DeSoto County Schools to make the leap to one-to-one device. And that's just going to bless all of our kids. But that transition happens to be going on at about the same time this tournament's going on, and those two things are colliding. And that was an unforeseeable thing when we were scheduling this event 2 months ago.
Hey, Jonathan, you want to take a look at one of the games post-mortem? Number 10 there was a draw. I'm curious
Sure.
how the draw came about.
Let's take a look. Okay.
Post-mortem is an interesting, I guess that's correct.
Yeah, that's the term that we use for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so early queen moves, but
I guess that's not like posthumously. Okay.
Okay, this is not so unexpected for this level, I think.
Yeah, I'm just curious how the draw came about.
Yeah, me too. Okay, white dropped the queen.
Wow.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah, there's hanging stuff all over the place.
White's dropping a lot of stuff. I mean, I don't even have to be a chess player to see this, but like you said, the draw, how did that happen?
This is life at this level. Probably stalemate.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Looking at all the pieces on the board now.
We have a wide range of ability in this tournament, and I'm actually sort of pleased with that. We don't want anyone to be intimidated.
Yeah, this is why you don't get a second
queen. That's a unique thing. Golly.
Yes, and I don't know how many students I have cautioned against that exact thing. Craig, you want to explain what the problem is?
Yeah, so it's stalemate. When the knight retreated like that, basically the king can't move anywhere because the queens are covering every square except for one, which is on f3, and the bishop is covering that square as well.
You must leave your opponent a legal move.
Right.
That's right.
The king has been able to hide or manipulate that situation.
This is actually
a hard one. That is such a difficult one for young, aggressive players to realize that every once in a while it's best if they pull those pieces way back and then
get
their strategy in place.
This makes it difficult to assess a player's strength sometimes because, for instance, like if you're creating a chess team and you have 40 kids that all want to try out for the team, and the team can only be 10 players, you might have a big tournament. And the problem with that is that when they're very young, they actually will have a lot of these stalemates where one player was clearly stronger than the other player, or clearly outperformed another player, but ended in a stalemate. And if you just let the tournament score be all that you look at, then it'll rate those players as equal, and you won't really know who is the stronger player. So it can be difficult to form a team of your strongest players because of stalemate at that level.
Right. Yeah, definitely. That's always a concern. There are 47 games still ongoing. I wonder how many of those are with idle players.
Yes, that's quite possible too. Um, I have there's a few people playing on their phones, and their phones may be using um, their their own parents. They may not be connecting to the system, to the Wi-Fi system. So that's a possibility too for students who have phones to download the app to their phone if their parents have unlimited streaming, which we went to many years ago on our family system. But now, if their parents don't have unlimited streaming, we may not. That's probably not a very good idea, but that's something that students by middle school are usually keenly aware of.
Very much so.
Yes, we figured that out, 10 years ago or more, that we definitely needed unlimited streaming when we had 3 teenage sons using our family account.
You'd be surprised how much data people can pull down. I moved into an apartment about 4 years ago. Before we had internet, I connected all of my devices to my phone's hotspot, and I used 450 gigabytes in the first month over my phone plan.
Wow.
Sprint
Yes,
gives me
you
unlimited.
and my sons were in the same category.
Well, Sprint,
So,
Sprint gives us unlimited data, and they called my dad and they asked, is this, is something wrong with your plan? Is your son actually using this? And my dad just said, yeah, that was him, and that was it. Every other
well, that's
cell
good.
provider would have cut us off or slowed down the connection.
Yeah, throttle the connection.
Yeah. Sprint
Yeah.
actually honored, they kept the same speed, and I did that for like 2
Well,
months.
That's very nice. That is very nice. Well, I think our phones have a fine speed, but
Hey, let's
my
look at
voice-
game number 22.
I'll let y'all do that.
This one?
It's in that one right there.
Yeah. This one was interesting. At the beginning, White just moved like a ton of pawns. Yeah, this should probably promote. I mean, White can stop it, but
Right. I'm just curious if White's going to see the resource to stop it and how they're going to hold on. There's a time issue here.
yeah. Like earlier in this game, White just moved a bunch of pawns.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was watching this. I'm not really sure what this is, but
Yeah.
That sounds like someone who wants to throw a game to me. At this level, I think most of our kids play better than that. That may be a student who, you've heard of taking the
G4F3
achievement test
is-
and just putting a Christmas tree on the achievement test bubble sheet. That's the equivalent of that. So if that teacher can find that child, maybe they don't need to play anymore.
No, I don't think they were purposely trying to throw the game, but that if there was a queen that could come to H4 there, then that
Yeah.
would have.
yeah,
There are some,
fools
there's
made
early in the second grade, some of our teachers use the pawn game, and I guess some kids never really evolved past the pawn game. But
yeah,
yeah,
that's the case. Well, Black managed to queen in that game we were looking
Yeah.
at, so
Yep, sure did.
that doesn't mean much. I mean, it could be a stalemate. It
It's true.
could be anything.
And it's funny, sometimes at the lower level, the best thing to do is just get rid of all your pieces when your opponent has a ton of them. Because the
Right.
probability of stalemate seems to be high.
Yeah, I tell kids to do that all the time. If you've got 2 bishops against this much, it's like you're not gonna win. So stalemate is your best approach. Just start giving stuff away. Bishop B7 check. All right. Well, the kids who have missed it, they're about gone here. 30 seconds left. So I guess we'll see how far this ongoing games number drops.
well, I know that if the white didn't move within 30 seconds, then the black wouldn't. Then it would be something like a forfeit.
No, in the Swiss tournaments like these, it'll time them all the way out. There's another
Well,
rating
now
system.
that's not what Alex told us yesterday. So maybe some of our kids didn't. Some of our
Yeah, well, we
teachers
have a
didn't know
game
that.
right here that no one has moved, and it's down to under 30 seconds.
It's-
So
I
30
wish
seconds.
that we could I just don't know. I can't, by the codes, I don't know what school they belong to.
There
Oh wait,
were
no one has moved.
there were 17 players that hadn't played that dropped, and okay, well this is
So
You know,
how did it score that game?
there may be something like 17 no-shows. I mean, I think my secretary Sherry signed into the tournament yesterday just to make sure everything was smooth and we could explain the process to other teachers. And she's a no-show today.
right.
So it's possible like we could have 10 no-shows out of 120.
Seems like we had maybe
It's
more
giving
than that.
victory.
Yeah, it's. I mean, if white doesn't move, then black wins. But yeah, in the other tournament system on Lead Chess called the Arena, where if you finish a game, you can immediately get paired for another game. In those games, if you don't make a move for 30 seconds, it'll instantly forfeit you. But in the Swiss tournaments, because no one can start the next round until everyone is done, there's not really a point in forfeiting someone early. They just let the clock run all the way down to zero, because the next round has to start at the same time regardless. And the only thing is, all of the kids that missed this round, if they manage to get in before the next round, I think they're going to have to repress this join button, because it'll withdraw them and not pair them for the next one unless they press it. But let's see what happens for the next round.
I know that Mrs. Jennifer Greer and Mrs. Wendy Hunt are both listening to the Twitch channel and are both working with their kids. So hopefully they have heard that and can are going through that process. I know they're not just standing there. So.
Right. I mean, it's a computer issue, So yeah, see this game. White's only got a king left. We're gonna find out if black knows how to checkmate.
That's the first thing I teach my students is how to checkmate.
Yeah. Capablanca wouldn't even teach people how to set up the pieces until they could do all the basic mates. You should start at the end.
Yeah, start at the end and work your way to the beginning.
Now, I haven't done that. I usually use a metaphor to help my kids remember how the pieces move at the beginning.
Yeah, they say one of the best ways to study chess is to learn your end games first, and then learn your middle game, and then your openings last. And all too often it is the exact opposite. We learn our openings first, our middle game second, and there are master level players who still don't have a good understanding of end games. And
Yes,
it's unfortunate, but it's so difficult to learn your end games first, because what happens is you go to a tournament and people who are just so well versed in openings can cause you to stumble very quickly and you end up losing a lot of games, even though you'll be a stronger player if you actually do learn it in reverse order.
Or just survive to mid game. There's I've seen lots of people that didn't have a very good opening but had a lot of tenacity and did very well once the pieces were settled. So.
Right. I mean, there are lots of players who learn. They just learn a bunch of opening traps, and that's good enough to quickly get them to a certain level, and then they just kind of stop. They never get any better. So
yeah, I tried hard to keep my kids from learning the 4-move checkmate or using it, but that didn't mean they didn't occasionally do it.
Right.
I had a team that one time they all decided they were going to pull the 4-move checkmate in round 4 and didn't tell me about it. But all 10 of my kids did the 4-move checkmate, and I think 7 of them won, because by round 4, nobody was expecting it because none of them had pulled it earlier, and they knew that I so strongly discouraged it that but when they team up behind your back, it was just sort of sneaky of them.
Right.
Those little darn smart kids, they'll do things sometimes.
Well, it's hard to tell kids not to do things that work.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
you have to give them stronger opponents. That's the only way out.
But at a district tournament when you're in the 5th grade, that worked real well for all 10 of them to pull that in round 4. So.
Right. We've got 5 games still going. We have one where White was 10 minutes late to make the first move, and so now Black also hasn't made a move, and now only has 5 minutes. So,
Well, we have one teacher who has reported that her kids are paired, but they're unable to move. So maybe they're paired against the DeSoto Central kids who are not in who can't get in for some reason. But all I can say is
if there's any kind of issue
round
like
two
that,
will be much smoother.
if there's any kind of issue like that, then they need to refresh the page. I mean, I've had some people say they.
Miss Greer, continue refreshing the page, and Miss Hunt, continue refreshing the page. Just tell your kids that over and over again.
When if they can't, if the board is up in front of them and they can't make a move, I mean, I've heard of that happening to people, but I've never had it happen to me, so I can't suggest a cause. But every time people have refreshed, and it has worked.
I've had it happen on the mobile app, and I've had to close out the app completely and come back in.
Well, I know that the mobile app, the tablet app, and the computer app for LeChess are all different in what they allow you to do, which I found interesting. But some of the, there are just some subtle differences. And I haven't played, of course, in a tournament on any of the apps, so I'm just not the best one to advise anybody. Other than keep hitting refresh, I can tell them to do that. That makes sense.
Yeah, I would recommend playing the tournament in a web browser on a computer, definitely. Although the mobile app does have some support for tournaments now, but it's kind of weird. You have to.
It's hard to get into the tournaments.
Right. There's not an interface for getting in, but once you're in, you can actually play. So.
Yeah.
I just got a text message from Dr. Jeff Bewlington, whom you both may know, who told me that he was watching. So hello, Dr. Bewlington. We are happy that you are watching from Meadville, Mississippi. Maybe you have enough bandwidth there to be able to watch without any problems. Of course, Twitch isn't the problem right now, but we appreciate you. I'll send you the link so maybe you can call in and chat as your teaching schedule allows. But Dr. Bewlington is working with Mississippi Chess Club. We have 2 groups that both work with Scholastic students, Mississippi Scholastic Chess and Mississippi Chess, and he's with Mississippi Chess, but he's also with the supporting the Mississippi High School Activity Association, who has now made chess a official high school activity in the state of Mississippi, which gives chess so much recognition and supports tournaments so much. We're so happy for that. And Dr. Bewlington is our leader in that and with that program right now. So we appreciate him.
That's great. Yeah.
He's done an incredible amount for chess in Mississippi.
Yeah.
Yes, he has. And now a lot of national attention. He is. We're just happy to have him, and I want to do everything I can do to support him and support chess in Mississippi. So.
And he had teams in Memphis. He's known me since I was like 8. To me, it was always just Jeff, but I guess now he's Dr. Bewlington. But
yes, he's a Dr. Bewlington. I think he got his PhD his dissertation was in chess education.
That's right.
Which I have not had an opportunity to read, but I look forward to reading it.
I believe,
that may be one dissertation I'll actually read all 4 chapters in.
Jonathan, you know Benson, right?
Oh yeah, no. Last game we played, we drew. That was a couple years back.
Yeah, he's gotten very, very strong. I believe he comes out of that group down there with Jeff.
He does. Yeah, they have a couple of really strong players. I think Benson is the strongest, but.
Yeah, by far, yeah.
Yeah, but they have. There's a couple of 1,600 strength players, I think, but. Yeah, Benson gave me a rough time. He actually should have won that game. I think he.
I saw
underestimated it. Yeah, it was real ugly. I played that really poorly.
Yeah.
But it happens.
It does.
All right. Well, this game, a couple moves ago, Black found a fork to pick up the rook, so now we have a winning endgame for Black. But, well, I don't know if I should say winning ending quite at this level, but maybe we'll find out. Black's rook is defended, so it's not going to drop off the planet quite yet.
I did send Dr. Bewlington the link, but I know he has a class schedule. He teaches several classes for them, but he also was instrumental in getting chess approved for a high school Carnegie unit credit, just like the football team earns a credit for participating in football, and the band earns a academic credit for participating in band. And now, if you can work a chess class into your schedule, which is very difficult for high school principals to do, we just don't have very much space to offer electives. But should the opportunity present itself, you can earn a credit for being on the chess team and have a period of the day set aside for it, just like all other activities. Just like
Yeah, I would love to
debate.
see a lot of schools in DeSoto County start doing that. That would be incredible.
Yes, we would. But I understand the issue that there's just so few slots, teachers, that, if you look at the schedule, you have to organize the schedule to cover all of the required curriculum. And so you have a certain number, you're only given a certain number of teachers, and it's based on a student ratio. You can't just go hire a bunch of extra people. You have to stick within your ratio, so they'll be funded. And then once that need to cover the basics is finished, then you stick your electives in as you can. And I would certainly, I don't think there's anyone that works in education that wouldn't like to be able to offer many more electives to students. It's just a matter of funding and that formula. And in Mississippi, we've never overly funded education. We've never tried that one. We've tried a lot of things, but we've never tried to be the top funded district in the nation by any means. And being a conservative person, I'm not saying that's the answer either, but that is why we don't offer more electives.
So Jonathan, I'm watching this last game, and you know what I'm fearing.
Oh yeah.
They start pushing these pawns and end up stalemating. But hopefully.
I think Black has some idea of what to do. They've got the king is trapped against the side of the board, but
yeah.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Anything could happen.
One of the things that I tell my students when they're in these predicaments where they have a ton of pieces and just a lone king, I'll wait for the move to finish. There we go. I tell them, make every move check. You will get there. You will get the checkmate. Just don't be giving these moves where it's not check and you end up with the stalemate, because you can't stalemate as long as every move is check.
I agree. Either
Right.
make every move check or pull way back and get your plan of attack together
and regroup.
And regroup. But either option is fine. And when you're having taught lots of second graders how to play, it's much harder to teach them to pull way back than it is to teach them to attack. At least certain kids that end up being the better players, the little aggressive darlings, they pulling back is just not in their DNA in the second and third grade. But that's why this is such a good strategic experience for them. That's why we need to we need to offer this.
So a couple of the kids are in the chat talking about, why do the kids who played someone who didn't make a move have the same number of points as the kids who, had to play a real game? But someone said, only in virtual chess can I checkmate someone in 8 moves and still rank lower than somebody that made a sandwich while the guy gets kicked to being AFK. But that statement is just wrong. I mean, if my opponent doesn't show up to the tournament, I get a point, and the other guy who sat there for 4 hours and won the game also gets 1 point, and we have the same score going into the next round. I mean, it's the same over the board.
That student may not understand the difference between the rating and the score. And if a student has been playing in the LeChess program for 6 weeks, which I have suggested so that they're used to it, their rating is probably stabilized by now. Where other students who have played 1 or 2 games before they came to this tournament in LeChess doesn't know what their rating is. So their rating is going to move wildly today while we go through this tournament.
Yeah, I think some of the chess players they were created new accounts just for this tournament. I know my daughter was. She didn't get to play under her username that she uses because she plays on this site quite frequently, and she's not using her username for that. She's using one that was given to her. So I think some of these accounts were created for the sole purpose of this tournament, and therefore they have provisional ratings.
I think most
Yes,
of
and that
them. There were only a few that had existing ratings.
yes,
Right.
that's not something that I required, but I can understand why a teacher may have wanted to do it that way, because our students have their own DeSoto County School email address that they're all available to use. We know what the password is. It makes it easy for us to monitor minors that way. And, where if they're using their mom's email address or something like that, that might, um, we're not monitoring that. So I can see where some teachers may have wanted to say, okay, we're just going to all open a new account.
Yeah.
But that wasn't something we required. But we've got some concrete sequential teachers out there that want to know what's going on, and some of them are frustrated right now because their kids aren't playing. But all I can do is apologize for that. I wish every student in DeSoto County played chess. One of my fantasies. I've had a couple of professional dreams over the years, and one of them was for chess to be recognized as a Mississippi High School Activity Association event. And I am so happy to say that has happened, and it's becoming a reality. But another one is to put a chessboard in the back of every classroom so that as students finished, that would be an option, like reading a book or doing some other activity that the teacher has available for students who have finished their main work. Having a chessboard in the back of every classroom would be a wonderful thing for any district.
So Jonathan, what you're noticing now is that every draw was stalemate.
Yeah, there were quite a few stalemates. There were 5 of
Yep.
them.
Were there
out
any
of-
draws that weren't stalemate?
No. And at
Like
this
just
level,
king,
that's
king?
completely expected. No, insufficient
Yeah.
material. Material snowballs. You're, most of these games are going to end with the winner up like a queen and a rook and a bishop.
Because they promote all their pawns.
Right. Yeah, I don't. I guess shortly we're going to see whether the players that. No, it looks like all the kids that were away are pulled out because they've all got pauses next to their names. So it's not going to pair them for the next round unless they get back and press join.
Now, is this set up in a teams aspect where no one from the same school plays
No,
another
It's
student
not
from that
set up
school?
that way, no.
no.
Okay.
The chess and the Swiss system did not allow for that, and we wanted to use the Swiss system. So.
Right.
Um,
Now keep in
I'm
mind,
surprised,
there
I'm
might be
surprised
some
Lee Chess
kids-
hasn't come up with that.
Yeah, I know they've been doing some changes to the Swiss system recently, but I don't think they're going to add teams for Swiss. I know they just modified the arena tournament so that you can have more than 10 teams.
Yeah.
The Memphis Chess Club ones that we run have 10 teams in them. You can now have more than 10. But you'll notice all of the kids who didn't play the first round were not paired for this one. So you have a lot of pauses. So we currently are down to 88 players, which means we lost.
what it means is DeSoto Central and South Haven Middle are still not in.
Right.
Because both of those teams are 24 kids, and you put those together and we're up to 120. So we may have to do another little tournament between those two schools soon, but I'm sending an email saying asked to be invited into the tournament again.
Yeah, they'll have to click join again.
Well, the second round.
But it won't pair them this round. It won't pair them this round. It'll have to pair them next round.
Yeah.
I
That's
don't know if they
unfortunate.
can join for round 3.
Well, my join button is still green, so they should be able to join for the third round, but they will not be able to join after that.
Okay. Well, I just
So-
sent an email out telling them to click join. So.
Yeah.
Yes, I've sent an email asking them to click join. So I hope they enter. Those are two strong schools with outstanding teachers who have supported this program and supported chess for years. So I'm just, I want all the kids to play. I'm just a advocate.
Right. I mean, everything's difficult with the pandemic, and everyone's got to switch to new ways of doing things, and all of this. You know, it might be worth in the future, maybe having like a rehearsal tournament. Like
Yes,
a
Dr.
short.
Bewlington asked me to tell both of you hello, and that he wholeheartedly approves of what you're doing, and you've done a great job. So, hello from Dr. Bewlington. He can't call right now because he's starting to teach, but
Well, he's welcome
maybe
to
he'll
call
call
in
later today. He's
whenever.
got the link. But I certainly appreciate the text message from him and the feedback. And he said it was great, even though there were technical difficulties. So I appreciate that from him. I keep getting text messages, emails from our teachers who are just mostly two of them are frustrated, and I just feel their pain.
I'm interested in that game right there.
Yeah, here's a real game. You know, this. They have a slightly weak isolated pawn on d6, but you know that is so
I'm not going
far
to
not.
commentate because this is my daughter's game. So
Yes,
Oh, really?
Yeah, just stay away
I
from
won't
that.
commentate on it. I won't commentate on it.
I see.
I've had three children that were my personal children that went through this tournament, and when we were in a facility kind enough to donate the use of their facilities, and we were spread out all over a giant room. If I had children in elementary school, I hung out on the high school side. And as they got to high school, I hung out on the elementary side and just tried to stay as far away from them as possible. And they were always pretty happy with that. Most of the time, they didn't talk to me and I didn't talk to them the whole tournament. And then after it was over, I found out, oh, you're getting a trophy today. Well, yeah, congratulations, son. My kids usually did pretty well. They hate that lack of a tiebreaker too. If one of my personal children is listening, I have gotten beat up around the dinner table for that lack of a tiebreaker on many occasions.
It's just so hard when you can have two people be undefeated. That's what makes it so hard. To go undefeated in a tournament and not walk away with the first place trophy is very difficult for a chess player.
I understand, and we try so hard to praise them for being undefeated. This last year, or maybe 2 years ago, Avery went undefeated he was one of our better high school players, and he was undefeated in 4 years of high school, DeSoto County School District chess tournaments. He won the tournament 3 of those 4 years, but he came in second 1 of those 4 years, but he was still undefeated. He won 20 games at the high school level. So he did a great job.
Yeah, someone is asking about all of the first winners. I mean, if you see all of the green ones, those are the ones that won the first round. We have 2 players who have now won both games. These are pretty quick. I mean, this is a pretty standard checkmate pattern with queen and knight. And then this one, I guess white just dropped all of the queenside pieces. Someone said they're kicked out again at Hernando Middle, so we're going to see... more.
I don't know who that is, but the first time I haven't heard from their teacher. But
HMS Tiger.
Yes, that's the Hernando team.
Yeah.
I can't tell you who it is, but I agree. It is difficult when for young children to tie. But we've had ties that were 3 and 4 people deep occasionally. When you have such a wide ability level playing, and we don't want to limit that. You know, we want our weaker players to come and enjoy the day. They're not going to ever be good if they're not given an opportunity to be exposed to something.
Right.
And you're going to have lots of undefeated people. But
hey, Jonathan, will you scroll down just a little bit?
Sure. Which game?
Yeah. But has she called? Yeah, I know who it was.
I was just seeing.
But no, she hadn't.
I don't see her. She's not down there anymore, so I was curious if my daughter was still playing or not.
What was the name?
She's at Hernando Middle. So.
Oh well, yeah. I guess she's there right now, huh? What was the username? I forgot it.
It's MS
This one.
39 something.
Yeah, this one.
Where is it? Yeah, that one.
Well,
Oh, uh-oh.
yeah.
There she goes.
So
That's
she's
her. She
flagged.
got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I was
that's
just
good.
when you
I
said
don't
that
want any
Hernando
kid to
middle
be
went
booted
down,
out,
it
but
freaked me
I know.
out.
Yeah,
It's okay.
pin pieces, and I mean, this is pretty standard.
You know, Craig, I don't know how much you've spent time around Mike Stewart, but you and Mike sound a little bit alike. I'm sort of, I want everyone to win. I want everyone to do well, and I'm
Right.
very competitive. But at the same time, we're playing for lots of reasons other than winning. I love to teach
Right.
leadership through the chessboard, that the king alone can do nothing, and every individual piece has to be doing what it was designed to do. That's just a great way to talk young children through leadership and responsibility. But Mike Stewart cares about winning. It sounds like you may be one of those people too. All that stuff, that's good, Emily.
I'm not, and I'll tell you this. I actually do not enjoy playing against people who I can just crush. I much rather play against people who can crush me. There's so much that you can learn. Watching someone just dominate you over the chessboard, you can take away so much from it. And so I'm not all about winning. I'm more about the process and the learning from it. So it is 10:07. I'm taking a break from work, but I'm about to have to jump back and get some work done. So,
All right.
can you
Well,
hear me, Jonathan?
yes, we've got another person in. So we'll see you later, Craig, and welcome
Okay.
to.
I'll jump back on later on in the afternoon.
All right. Welcome to.
All right. See you then. Bye bye.
Alan. Bye, Craig. All right. Hello, Mr. Underwood. Do you want to go ahead and turn on your video and go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes, sir. Okay.
All right. It looks like Emily is preoccupied at the moment, but she'll be back shortly, I think.
All right. Can you hear me without feedback?
I can.
Okay. Well, I was getting some feedback when Craig was on, but I'm not hearing it so much now.
Okay, so I know Emily normally handles introducing people.
That's all right.
I'm from Memphis, so I'm nearby, but I don't know who everyone is. So let's see.
All right. Well, I'm from DeSoto County, South Haven High School. So I see Emily is occupied at the moment.
Right. So, do you coach a chess team? Or?
Yes, I coach the high school chess team here, and have I guess you'd say, a long history with chess here in DeSoto County, at least compared to some people. And Emily will probably want to share some of that with you. I'm not sure exactly how much she wants me to describe and how much she'd like to say.
I'm sorry I had to back away for a second. I've just gotten a phone call from the principal at South Haven Middle School. And John Sarton, I can assure you, is as supportive of the chess team as he is any team on that campus. And
Right.
He went through all the different things that he's been trying to get his chess team on successfully. He's been moving students out of the computer lab and
Oh, wow.
trying to do landlines. And I mean, he has really been problem solving. So I need to, even if someone can't be successful, to put that much care and attention into the support of these kids is
Right.
exactly what you want to hear from a principal, because
Well, that's what it takes.
he's
takes
invested in
principal
it. And
support.
I just respect that so much. So,
All right.
these technical difficulties are going to happen and he's trying to solve them. But at least I know that he personally is invested in trying to solve them. And that just speaks volumes to me. And I know that we're lucky to have a lot of administrators at DeSoto County that support, chess, knowledge bowls, speech and debate, all of those types of events, robotics, gaming. Those are all activities that are going to be relatively small, especially compared to football and band. but those kids, those are those niches, and those kids need those opportunities to find who they are and maximize their own potential.
Right.
Because a teacher can't maximize your potential. Craig, when you were learning to play, you did that. You're largely self-taught. So, but you were given, you somehow or another were exposed to it, and then you were given the opportunity to maximize your potential. And that's what we're trying to do here too. And I see my good friend, Alan Underwood, has joined us.
Yes, ma'am.
Coach Underwood, I'd like to give you a little bit of a welcome. Coach Underwood is now the chess coach at South Haven High School. He became the chess coach at South Haven High School 1 week before the high school chess tournament. And he learned more about Le Chess and Le Chess teams than anyone out there. He had a team that did well. One of his students tied for second place and got a trophy.
Right.
I think his team came in 4th out of 8. And so we were very proud of South Haven High School for literally pulling it together in 5 days or less. So hands off to Coach Alan Underwood, but also a few years back, Alan was the coach of the South Haven Middle School team.
Right.
And I will say, Alan and I, Alan, do you have a chess rating? Are you a member of the U.S. Chess Federation?
It depends on which side I'm on. My rating is somewhere between 980 and I think I'm almost at 1100 on another. It's nothing to brag about.
Yeah, you and I are probably very similar. Earlier today, I introduced myself as someone who plays chess, not necessarily a chess player.
Right.
These two gentlemen are chess players.
Right.
But
there's
play
big
chess.
Yes.
And I think you and I we've called ourselves kindred spirits for many reasons over the years.
Right.
But you and I are both supporters of chess. And one of the reasons that I wanted to ask you to play is sort of, we have the type, counter type, Craig Siraj has self-studied and done a lot to improve himself with chess over the years, and we're so glad supporting that team. And but you've done an awful lot with your chess team and your kids, and you are, just a dad that plays chess, which is a real good thing to be. So could you share a little bit of that with us, and your experiences as a chess coach, and maybe some of your middle school memories? I'd appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. I actually, hang on just a second. The way that I got involved with chess in school, in the middle school, was that I had a learning lab, which is part of the special education program, and basically I had inherited a learning lab that nobody else wanted, and I had 8 boys that had been together since about kindergarten, 1st grade, and they had basically run off every other teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was trying to figure out how it was that I could help them to actually want to learn and actually begin to manage the classroom instead of them managing me.
Yes.
And so I talked with principal, who at that time was Levi Williams, and I asked him, I said, if they do their work, if they complete it, can I spend the last 10 minutes of each class period with them, teaching them how to play chess? And he was willing to let me do that kind of on a trial basis to see if it actually made any difference. Well, I didn't know much about chess. I just knew the very basics and rudimentary principles of it. But I began to teach them, and then they began to just crave that time, and they would do whatever work they had to do in order to have those 10 minutes at the end of each class period. And then some of them began to study it on their own outside of school, and they were coming back into the class determined, to outplay each other. And it just grew from that. And one of the moments that I will never forget, because this was all kind of revolutionary and I didn't even realize it. I just was trying to do my job. But I was in class, and someone from the county office came in and was observing, and I got real nervous. and then she said, when are we going to play chess? And it was you, Emily.
Yes, that's right.
I think
that's when we met. We had sent messages, emails back and forth,
Right.
but you'd never actually met me. And I
Right.
came in and I was walking around the room. Usually I don't come in and take a seat. I figured every teacher needs a little help. So I'll look over a shoulder and see what I can do. And so I was moving around the room helping you work with these little boys, and then you thought you were being observed.
Right.
And I was not there to observe you. I was there to bring you some chessboards and pat you on the back, say, "Oh, I'm so proud of you." And that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But you one of the things I want to say is that Craig is a great chess player, and I'm so glad we have people like him in the community. But you have a great willing spirit, and we
Thank
need people like you in the community too, because
Right.
Craig has a role and he feels it, and he can make commentary on advanced games and sum them up quickly, much quicker than my brain will ever absorb them. But sometimes if you have a willing spirit, you are giving students an opportunity. You're exposing them to something that they would never otherwise know about. Some of those students those boys would never compete intellectually had you
Right.
not given them that opportunity.
Right. And that was one of the things that was the most amazing about it to me, was that um, these were boys that by and large, people did not expect to even finish high school.
Yeah.
And most of them went on and finished high school, and went beyond that.
They were certainly a group you might describe as at risk.
Yes, they were definitely at risk.
Mhm.
One of the young men became one of the better players in DeSoto County, as you recall.
I do. I
And
do. To maybe talk about that middle school event a second.
okay,
One of your players.
I'll tell it from my perspective. Of course, we were all in the large facility you mentioned a while ago, and and I forget which round it was in. I want to say it was the second or third round, but I was over there with our team after most of them had completed their games, but there were still some games ongoing, and one of them came over there, and I'm not going to name names, but they said this young man who was on our team said he's beating a player who is one of the top players in the state
Yeah.
at that
And
time.
it was a name you recognized. So
Right.
yeah, we knew he
And
was one of our
my
stronger
jaw
players.
dropped. And so, I didn't want to make him nervous, but I kind of made my way over there and watched, and sure enough, he beat him. And and it just, I mean, we were all floored. But he had, um, this was a young man who was in special education, who had, I actually taught in a Read 180 class.
Hmm.
He had
I love the Read
serious
180
difficulties with
program.
reading.
I do. I love that program for certain
Oh, I
students.
do too. I wish, yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's one of the best.
I do too.
Um, so, but chess provided him with an avenue to realize that he intellectually was just as competent as anyone else.
Yes, that
And
experience is something I'm sure he's never forgotten. Either one of the boys have ever forgotten.
right,
But you and I remember it as well. And
right,
but that was a happy moment for a student that was, sometimes the underdog wins, and it's always
right.
good to cheer on the underdog. So,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
So it's been a wonderful experience for me just being a part of chess, and of course I wasn't teaching for a few years, and when I came back into teaching, I was looking for a way that I could be involved with it potentially, and so when that opportunity came up last semester, uh, I jumped at it. I was
Yeah.
so excited,
Well,
and
I'm so happy you were excited, and there are probably more teachers that are like that out there, that just they're looking for ways to serve, but they don't know
right,
where they might best fit in. And I would invite any of them to email me, because there are lots of ideas,
right,
and I can be a support person for those ideas.
mhm,
And like I can bring you some chessboards, like
right,
I did 10 or 15 years ago.
right.
Um, to help out. But Alan
And
and I
the thing I've realized
consider you
too
a
is you
dear
don't have to
friend,
be a great player
and
to help
I
players become
have
great.
so much
But you have to provide them with the
respect for
opportunities to
you.
learn, the exposure to the game, And if you're doing those things, then then there's all kinds of potential there because a lot of the students will just take it upon themselves to improve their game, and you're just helping them along that path.
It looks like she's having
She's
some
frozen.
connection issues. So yeah, she's
All right.
completely frozen. Hopefully, we'll come back soon.
All right. Well, she's not the only one in DeSoto County apparently having connection issues.
Not even close.
Oh, she logged out. I guess she's going to log back in.
Yeah, hopefully she will be back
Yeah.
soon.
Jonathan, I appreciate you doing this for us. It's a huge help to our schools and our students.
Anytime. I mean, it's beneficial to me as a chess professional in Memphis that DeSoto County's chess community be as strong and active as possible. So it's not necessarily purely altruistic, right? It's
All right.
I like streaming. It's computer stuff is easy for me, and talking about chess is easy for me. So it's definitely not a problem at all.
All right. Well, are there any games right now that you find particularly interesting?
There are a few. There's a couple of players here that I'm really interested in who this person is because the opening played here by Black is quite competent. I mean, all of the pieces are on active squares, and
All right.
both rooks in the center. I mean, there's definitely improvements that could be made here, but this player definitely has lots of experience of how to play the opening accurately. This is
All right.
knights in the center, bishops on nice squares, rooks. I mean, I don't know who this is, but clearly this player has played for quite some time.
All right. Control of the center and castling early and everything. Yeah, that's good.
Right. As the tournament goes on, and the players who have won more have to play other players who have the same sort of number of points, we should
All right.
get stronger and stronger games. In the first round, we had a bunch of stalemates. Players who captured all their opponent's pieces but didn't know how to actually close the game out. So
Right.
that
Yeah.
happens a lot at this level.
I thought that was interesting what Craig said about basically teaching the game in reverse and learning, the end game first and then middle game and the openings, because he's right. That's the exact opposite of how it's, generally taught. But the end game is the hardest part to really master.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. For my level, in games are definitely my weakest point.
Yeah.
I'm rated about 2100 or so.
Ooh,
So
wow.
like I'm good enough to know that I'm really not that good compared to players who are really really serious chess players. The line that I tell people is that I'm good enough to know that I'm not really that good at chess, but
Right.
I am better than most people who think they're good at chess.
I
Right.
was about to say you're far better than most.
Right, but that's a huge gap. The gap between me and like a grandmaster or something is enormous. Right, so the difference is that if I watch their games, I can sort of understand what they're doing after the fact, but
Right.
it's almost impossible for me to predict what they're going to do in any
Yeah.
given situation. All right, looks like Emily is
Yeah,
back,
she's back.
so I can sort of hand over the talking to the talker. Yeah.
Well, I've enjoyed talking with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not so much bad at it. I'm the chess and technology guy, really.
Hey,
There we go.
can y'all hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello?
Can you hear us? I mean,
Yes, we can hear it
Hello?
just fine.
we can hear you.
Hello? Emily's back. Can you hear me?
Yes.
See
Yes,
me?
ma'am.
Hey, I cannot see myself, but I can trust. Hello. I got kicked off, and so I'm on my phone at the moment. So obviously there's some bandwidth. But while I was kicked off, I have heard from the DeSoto Central Middle School principal, who is also invested in solving the problem and has called someone from this office and they're going to send some IT people out. I really am not optimistic that the IT people can help, but maybe they are some magic miracle workers. I hate that it's only happening in 2 schools. I'm glad that it's only happening in 2 schools, but it's kind of a mystery as to why those 2 schools. So maybe they can solve that problem at least. So,
All right.
but I may figure out if I can figure out how I can see myself. But there I am. Hi. I'll keep playing with this a minute. So. But Alan, I don't think you heard me say, because my secretary came and tell me, but thank you so much for being such a willing spirit.
You're welcome.
We need more willing spirits. We need more willing spirits in this world, and you are blessing children and their lives by giving them opportunities to have experiences that they would never otherwise have. We all learn through experience, and without willing people willing to do the best they can, then that's, you have to be able to step forward and do it. And you are a person that steps forward. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Well, it's, with the team here at South Haven, and I think of it, as far as chess club / chess team, I see them as one and the same, because whatever the team is that you select, it's going to come out of the club. And so you have to encourage people to want to be a part of the club and just enjoy playing the game. And
that's a good.
And we're really at the beginning stages of that here. We're having to rebuild the program at South Haven High. And so a lot of times all it takes is just asking a student, hey, you want to come to my room and we'll play chess? I'll teach you, And
that's right. That's right.
And they will, and you can talk to other teachers and say, hey, can he come down there and at the end of this block? And most teachers will be glad to let them somewhere other than their classroom for a little bit, once they've done their work.
That's right. At the elementary level, I found some of my most valuable chess players were kids that rarely won a game, but they were good teachers. So that when we had a new student move into the program, and I didn't want to drop everything and teach this child how to play, but during independent time, I would turn a student over to a student who knew how to play, but just didn't have that aggressive killer instinct. But those kids make great teachers. And then when the student that was learning the game beat them a couple of times, I knew it was time to move them on to a more aggressive student. But sometimes your passive players make very good teachers. At a certain level.
And also,
and they
times,
feel that.
The students can communicate with students and better than you can.
That's right.
Yes, I'm finding the older I get, the more that's true. But a lot of times they can communicate with each other at a level that you just can't.
That's right. That's right. Well, I don't know, Jonathan, are we into round 3 yet? Or are we still in round 2? Or can you give me an update?
Not quite. We've got 4 games left in the second round. And then we'll have a 5-minute break before the third round starts.
Yes. And so if you're listening, South Haven Middle or DeSoto Central Middle, this is a good time to try to rejoin, to hit the refresh and join the tournament again. Because if you're in, you'll be paired, hopefully, when round 3 starts. We are hopeful about that anyway. And that might happen. But
as long as you get in with enough time to press the join button, you should be okay.
Get in time to press the join button, and but go ahead and try to do it. If you've been kicked out, try again, because this is but I have heard from both Brian Williams and John Sarton, who are the principals of those 2 schools, and they are doing their best to solve this problem. So, but we've got 4 schools around the district with lots of kids, about 80 kids playing chess, and some of them I'm sure are doing well. So, Alan, I'm going to say goodbye to you, and I will let you get back to your duties as a teacher. And thank you so much for calling in, my good friend, and sharing those memories. I couldn't hear you, but that doesn't mean anything. Take care. Bye.
All right.
Jonathan, I'm going to try to get back in on my computer for a minute, but I'm going to keep logged in on my phone. Will that work for if you see me try to get in? Can you let me in on my computer? In other words, I'll try to be in 2 weeks, and if I get back in on my computer, I'll kill it on my phone.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
whatever works for you.
I'll do my best. Okay. I'm going to step away for a second and do my best to get back in on my other phone.
For anyone that's watching that's interested in chess lessons for themselves or for a child or for someone that they know, there are a lot of teachers here in Memphis. I know there are a few instructors in Mississippi, like International Master Dave Ross, but there's a lot of us up here in Memphis. Now that we are giving all of our lessons online anyway, it's the same to give lessons to students in Memphis or DeSoto County or anywhere else. So you know how to reach me if you're interested in anything like that. So. All right. You're still connecting the audio, so I can see you from the computer, but I can't quite hear you yet.
Can you hear me now?
I can. Let me
Oh,
fix
right.
your
Well,
Zoom
it's
name.
good to see you again, and I'm glad that it worked for me to jump on my phone when I needed to. But I'm back at my computer, and I'm back checking my emails. And I hope that, and I know that there are a few players at South Haven Middle and DeSoto Central Middle who have been able to join on their phones, or one or two computers have been able to hold on to them. So I would encourage each of the students who can't play at those schools to cheer on their teammates. They can't help them play, but they can. That's part of being on any team, is helping your teammates know that you wish them well and that you're on their side.
Right. Yeah, that support from teammates is important. You know, morale matters.
A whole lot. And I know it's devastating to be excited about a chess tournament and not be able to get in the morning of the tournament. But we are, I'm sure, proud of the South Haven Middle School team and the DeSoto Central Middle School team and both of those teachers. Couldn't be prouder of them. But I've also team out there with some amazing coaches in Meredith Willis and Tanner Koontz. And I've got Allison Brigance over with the Olive Branch Middle School team, and Courtney Barker with the Center Hill Middle School team, and Kathy James and Brian Avant are with the Hernando Middle School team. So we have a tournament going on.
Kind of an unfortunate situation on this board down here. This game's going to end soon because Black's going to take one of these pieces. This Bishop, Knight, and King against a lone King, it is possible to win with Bishop and Knight versus King, but it's really difficult. Most chess books don't even bother teaching it because it's extremely rare, and I've seen masters mess this up. I couldn't do it unless I had some time to think. I couldn't do it automatically because there's not really a good algorithm for doing this checkmate just by following like a set of principles and an order of moves. So this has probably been going on for some time, and at this level, there's no way they're going to accidentally find the right plan. Right? You have to slowly corral the king into a corner that is the same color as the bishop. I mean, there's a very specific.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but
yeah. But what doesn't check need to be with the knight in this case?
Well,
usually.
in the bishop and knight king versus king mate, the final checkmating move is always a bishop move. The king has to be in one of the two corners. That's the same color as the bishop. There are very specific formations that you have to use to push the king towards the corner. It's not trivial, right? Like, none of the players in this tournament
No,
are,
it's
are
not.
at a level where...
I understand that that is not a draw because there's material on the board that can be won, and I'm with you. I've worked it out a few times by myself, but not necessarily to be able to explain a strategy to students.
Right.
Just because I've sat at a board and kind of played through it myself a little bit. But that's an interesting, and if you, unless you're using strategic thinking skills and thinking several moves ahead, you are not going to put that king in checkmate.
No.
It's not going to happen. You have to think ahead, and you have to be able to predict that king's moves. Not only know what moves you're going to make, but be able to successfully predict their moves.
Right.
Which is just a good business strategy, a good leadership strategy for a lot of us.
The book...
But it is a little...
The book that I used to teach kids, that I have them read for in-games and stuff, doesn't teach bishop and knight versus king. I mean, it just says, like, this is too difficult. We're not going to go over it. And that book goes all the way up to master level strength. So it's just an extremely rare index. Some of these other in-games are interesting. I'm not sure if they're going to find a way to win. Like, black just won a rook here with this fork. So... maybe black can win. If black knows how to do the king and queen mate, then it'll be a win here, but he's going to have to prove it. That's the case in most games.
Yeah. Well, I would think, there's some things that you don't necessarily know how to do, but you figure out on the spot. And I would think that one might be one that could be figured out, even if they hadn't necessarily studied it ahead of time. But that I can appreciate a student not quite being able to checkmate with the knight and the bishop, even though I do think they could probably, work it out. That's a little bit more of a challenge. But.
It's possible, but brute calculation won't solve it. They have to know the principles of what to be looking for. But if they're just trying to brute force, like calculate this move, then this move, then this move, there's no way. And that's true in a lot of positions, right? Like, just trying to look ahead and calculate to find the solution is often not enough. You have to know the principles of the right way to approach certain types of positions in order to execute them correctly. And that's part of what learning is. You have to know the concepts. Okay, well, I figured out who one of the players in the Twitch chat is, because they're saying the exact same things in the tournament chat. So... uh-oh. I think...
Uh-oh.
Well, okay, White...
I don't like to hear uh-oh.
White didn't want to take this queen, so... The downside at this level, these in-games can drag on for a long time because the players themselves aren't comfortable with like the right way to play, and so eventually maybe someone messes up, but they can go on for some time.
I hope that Logan Schoonover will be calling in soon. I just know that she's stuck between grad school classes, but
right.
I think she'll be a wonderful addition to talk to. And she can empathize with these middle school kids. She's been there and done that. She actually moved away from DeSoto County after her 10th grade year. But she finished in Colorado. but she spent several years on chess teams here in DeSoto County before she went to Colorado and started her high school chess team there.
Yeah, I looked her up on the U.S. Chess Player Lookup, and she apparently played a few games after moving to Colorado. She played in a couple of Memphis tournaments, way back, like 2012 or
Yes.
2013 or something.
Yeah, she's a 21 now, first year master's candidate, and she has not played much, but she was a strong scholastic player in Mississippi and a strong female scholastic player in Mississippi. And she has an interesting story about how she started chess. She was sort of thrown in the pool and told to swim and swim hard, and she did. She did.
Did we talk to her last time?
No, last time, hold on, she's calling right now. Hello, Logan. We are on the Twitch channel, but have you caught? You know, you need to hit that link and call in through Zoom. I sent you yesterday.
Right now?
Whenever you're ready to. We'd love to talk to you. Okay, well, come on in and hit that channel and we'll talk to you for 20 minutes. You just tell us all about yourself. All right. Logan has 20 minutes before class, so she's going to call and talk to us for a few minutes. And she may, who knows, maybe we can talk her into calling back. But no, last time we talked to the first female high school chess champion that this tournament ever had. We've only had 2 high school female winners, and one of them was Morgan Wakeham, now Taylor, who's an assistant principal in Paragould, Arkansas, and she is the young lady that called in last time. And then the other one was Danielle Newcomb, and you may know Connie Newcomb, who was very supportive of DeSoto County chess, and her daughter Danielle was a winner one year. But in about the 25 years of high school or chess in DeSoto County, and probably 15 years of high school chess in DeSoto County, we've only had 2 ladies that won. But Logan was one of those students that tied for first place a couple of times, and she'll be joining us soon, I hope. She's got some interesting things to share with us. For someone that worked hard and distinguished herself at the middle school level.
That's awesome. Yeah, we had one of the games finish. We had this one. White promoted to get a second queen, and then immediately stalemated with the second queen. That's why it's important to learn how to do the king and queen versus king checkmate. You don't need the second queen. In fact, it just makes things more difficult to keep track of. It's very easy to accidentally stalemate your opponent.
It does.
You have to learn how to do the simple things.
That's it.
Yeah, I tell kids, if you have extra material, just give it all away. You know, you don't need that. It's just in the way. No extra points for winning by.
Yeah, that would have been a different story. If that queen could be against the wall so easily,
right?
And the other queen could cut off the paths or the escape routes.
I'm here.
I tend to use simple escape routes. Kids like the idea of having escape routes.
All right, so Logan is here. I'll let you two.
That might not be typical chess lingo, but it works great in the 5th grade.
Whatever works. All right, so Logan is in the call. Let me. I'll let Emily take over. Looks like.
Hey, Logan.
Hey.
Hey, Logan.
Hey.
It is good to see you. Oh,
Good
we
to
lost
see you
Logan, I
too.
think. Hey, Logan, it is so good to see you. And I'm so proud of the young lady you've become. Tell us where you are now. And I know we have such a short amount of time, but tell us your history with chess here, especially in DeSoto County.
Yeah, so I moved to DeSoto County when I was in elementary school, so around 3rd grade. And at that age, it's kind of like hard to get plugged into things. And I didn't know how to play chess or anything, but I'd moved from Pennsylvania, so we had never learned it in class or anything. But then I was part of the Spotlight program at DeSoto Central, so then I started learning how to play chess. I wasn't that good right away, but I thought, wow, this is a great way to like meet my classmates and make a lot of friends. So I joined the chess club at DeSoto Central. And then I went to the district chess tournament. I'm pretty sure I lost like most of my games, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Like I never knew that there were tournaments going on, that I could do this at. So then I just started, I guess, going to like the lessons held at our school with Mike Stewart. And then, yeah, I went to chess camps over the summer. And at first it was purely just because I enjoyed it. But then I started, so I know you had convinced my mom to let me go to nationals. I'm not sure what age that was at, probably like 5th or 6th grade, but I loved it.
It was a Super Nationals in Nashville. And
Yeah,
how
it
often do
was
we
Super
get a chance to
Nationals.
drive to a national event like that?
Yeah, and Super
Yeah.
National, I mean, obviously Super Nationals is probably like the best tournament to go to for your first national tournament. But it was a lot of fun. So I just kept playing and I kept getting better and better. And then when I was in 7th grade, it was either 6th or 7th grade, I got like top girl in the state. So I got to go to the Susan Polgar Invitational in Texas and meet like all of the state representatives from that. I can't even count how many national tournaments I've been to. I've been to so many.
Yeah, Logan, give us a little bit of it. How did you get that experience? How did you get that opportunity to represent the state of Mississippi in that? And what was it like being around all those girls that played chess?
Oh, it was pretty awesome because you don't really see a lot of girls. So I had won like, I don't know how many games I won at state. I did well at state and I got top girl. And it was like top girl for the entire tournament. So I think that included high school as well. But yeah, it was a really good experience because you don't really see like, well, I guess more and more now you are like seeing more girls like winning massive tournaments. But at the time, it didn't really feel like there was a lot of women's representation in chess. So going to a tournament where everybody was a girl and then the girls were rated like 1900, 2000 at the age of like 16, 17, I was like, oh my gosh. So I, I think at the time I was like not rated that high, but yeah, that was a very good experience. And then, so after that, I ended up going to a different school in 8th grade, and then I came back to DeSoto Central in 9th grade. And then I found out we were moving to Colorado for my 10th grade year. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna miss this whole community of people that I've met. And like my best friends at DeSoto Central were from chess and from Knowledge Bowl. Like my very best friends and my very best friends that I've made in my life too. I mean, a lot of them are from chess, like national chess tournaments, chess camps and everything.
Yes.
So when I moved in 10th grade, I was looking for a way to kind of like insert myself into my high school because I had a graduating class of like 700 people. So my school was double the size of DeSoto Central. And I thought a good way to do that would be to kind of like introduce my interest in chess to the people at my school because we didn't have a chess club. Like it's definitely not as big in Colorado. But I mean, I was still taking lessons in Colorado, and I was still going to national tournaments and everything on my own. But I thought it would be a good thing to be able to bring that to my school. So I started a chess club at my school and everything. And yeah, it was actually like, it was on the front page of the club section the year that we started it. They're like, chess club is so hot right now. Like in terms of, we have like 30, 40 people coming to our events. We have people on the football team coming. We have people, I don't know, with skateboarders coming. We have all kinds of people coming to chess club. And it was just like a good relaxing
kids will
thing.
self-sort. The chess team, I mean, 40 kids on a chess team in a school twice the size of DeSoto Central, it's not the biggest team on campus, it never will be, but students will self-sort. And those were kids that were either interested in playing or maybe played with their grandpa. Right. And you had the leadership to give them that chance. And of course you made the front page of the activity section.
Well, and also we didn't
girl plays chess, you know, that was.
We didn't really have a team or anything. So it was mostly just like people meeting and stuff, but people did end up going to tournaments like on their own and stuff. So it was a good experience. Yeah. But a lot of people, they were like, oh, my grandpa taught me how to play and I've never had a chance. So.
Yeah. Well, Logan, one thing to point out about your rating is that, especially here in Mississippi, we tend to keep our students in scholastic tournaments. And when you play in scholastic tournaments, your rating is not going to move up very much.
Right.
Your rating is going to move up after you make the transition to adult tournaments. But if you're not that obsessed with rating and you're just watching the kids that are the movers and the shakers and made a difference, you were definitely one of those kids. And you were a joy to watch grow up. And now we're Facebook friends, so I get to watch you at a distance.
I'm sad. I haven't seen you in person in so long. But yeah, I mean, even in terms of the rating thing, like if you do want your rating to go up, you do have to pursue like other tournaments. So like Memphis Chess Club with Arlene Kleiman, like the best to like increase your rating and like get experience playing other really good students like outside of DeSoto County as well. That's a place where I was able to get like a lot of lessons from grandmasters and everything, and be able to go to like the Mid-South Chess Camp.
Now we're doing some exciting things with the Memphis Chess Club now. They've sort of reorganized a bit, and they have a storefront that is a little bit of an upscale, I guess is upscale and fast food in the same category, but they offer salads and nice sandwiches. But chess club members can come grab a board and play chess during lunch, and it's a place for friends to meet. Like if you and I hadn't seen each other in a while, we might meet there and visit over a game of chess. And it's just such a cool location. And Jonathan is one of the people that works with the new Memphis Chess Club.
It was a really good
such
time.
An addition to the Mid-South. Yeah.
I have some good memories from that time in my life for sure. But I still play chess and everything. I mean, I'm not like on the chess team at OU.
Now, to clarify,
Logan,
Arlene Kleiman's organization is Shelby County Chess, right? The Memphis Chess Club is a separate.
I thought, I meant to say Mid-South Chess.
Right, right, Mid-South. Right.
Yeah.
The Memphis Chess Club is a separate organization.
Logan, I know you were an outstanding student. Were you a National Merit finalist?
So I'm actually a National Merit Scholar at OU. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Oh yeah, National Merit Scholar, which is amazing.
So that's why that's one of the reasons I came to OU.
That's even above a National Merit finalist.
Yeah.
So you went to how much, in your academic success, I know it helped your personal life in that you've always blended well with the kids that play chess, and so those became your best friends. But do you think that it did help you academically, strategically?
Yeah, I do. So I always tell people the two things that shaped my mind the most and prepared me the most for problem solving and everything in my major or clarinet and chess. And I still write, I mean, for essays and everything, I was thinking about applying to PhDs, but now I actually have a job. But I would still write about chess because part of the reason I chose my majors, so my undergrad was in accounting and economics, and I'm finishing my master's this semester in accounting. And I would not be able to succeed in accounting if I did not have problem solving skills from chess, if I wasn't able to see kind of the big picture, but also go into the small details. And that's what I like doing because I grew up with that, you know what I mean? So it's like accounting was the perfect fit for me. And yeah, I feel like it's definitely like, and chess is creative too, you know what I mean? It's kind of like an art. So you're always setting up different positions, setting up different strategies, doing special stuff like, oh, how can I fork this piece? How can I pin this piece? So yeah, I definitely think chess has helped me academically as well. And even in my professional life, like during my internship I interned at PwC in Denver last spring. And like I would play chess with the people on my team. So like these adults wanted to play chess with me when we were staying up, until like 9-10 o'clock doing an audit. So it was a good way to meet people. And even, I mean, in any situation, chess has been kind of a good thing to bond with people in an emotional way, but also in a brain way and challenge each other for sure.
Well, Logan, I don't want you to be late for your class, but I do appreciate you calling in, and I'm happy that I can see myself. Well, I may have been stuck briefly. I'm not everybody
Yeah, I
misses
don't
it,
think
but
I missed anything.
I'm happy. I'm happy that this program and being able to play chess and then being able to learn about tournaments and the competitive situation helped you get a footing for life. And that's what it sounds like you're telling me. And you have had, you're a successful young woman, and I'm sure that's just the beginning of the many successes you will have. But if chess
Thanks.
played a part in that, then this program is a good
very
thing.
big part in who I am today. Chess was very important in shaping who I am today.
Mm-hmm. So, and your friends here in DeSoto County miss you, and I'm certain that at some point in time we'll have a little chess club, elementary chess club reunion. So,
Yes. Yeah. In
but,
the meantime,
Logan,
we can all play on chess.com.
that's right. Or at lechess.org when it's working and not kicking people off. We've been having a lot of problems today. 2 schools. You went through DeSoto Central Middle School, and they've been kicked off most of today.
Oh my
But
gosh.
yeah, it's been the bummer. But anyway, hopefully they will. They'll South Haven Middle and DeSoto Central Middle will be in. So, but thank you for calling, Logan. Thank you for reaching back and remembering some happy memories for you, and letting people know that how important this is. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks again for the opportunity. Good luck to everybody
Take care.
playing.
Bye, Logan.
It's a very fun tournament. This is always my favorite tournament
Bye,
to
Logan.
go to.
Take care.
Bye. Bye.
All right. We got a couple more stalemates and insufficient material draws and stuff. We did have one interesting game which ended not because of a stalemate or insufficient material, but because if you go 50 moves without a pawn move or a capture, then the game is a draw. And this prevents games from going on endlessly when neither player knows how to checkmate or something like this. So in this game on move 97, white captured black's rook, leaving only a rook and a knight. But the pieces sort of moved around aimlessly, right? The right plan with the rook is to trap the king on the side of the board, any of the sides of the board, and then play the appropriate mate. But, I mean, the pieces just kind of moved around, and then 50 moves later,
Yes.
Licha said, okay, this is a draw.
I know. You have to, I kind of described the at the end of the game how the queen and the rook, but especially the 2 rooks will move. It's I sort of call them the scissors move, because they cut off access. It cuts off those escape routes that I was talking about, Jonathan. So
Right.
if you use your rook effectively, you just put him down there and leave him there, and he's cut off the escape route, and your king.
Looks like you dropped. Maybe you'll come back. Yeah, the correct approach to a rook and king versus king is to create a box around the enemy king and slowly shrink that box until the king is on the side of the board, and then you play the rook checkmate when the kings are in opposition, when they're directly facing one another, so that the king restricts movement off the back rank. These are sort of fundamental checkmates that are very important to learn. I think Emily dropped, so I'm going to text her. There we go. Alright, looks like you are now back. You're muted, so yeah, it automatically
Okay,
mutes
I'm
new
back
people.
now.
Yeah.
I'm back. But I don't know if you heard me or not. I was saying that the most effective use of the rook at the end of the game is to cut off the escape routes. Push that king against the wall, and then set that rook down there, and that way he can't escape. If you
Right.
and then you, that gives you time for you to plot the attack for the king and the knight. You can plot so that you get your king into a position that is not only check but checkmate. But
Right.
if you keep moving that rook, you keep letting the king escape.
Right. I mean, the
Don't
player
let the king escape.
The player with the king's goal is to keep the king in the middle, and the other
Yes.
side's goal is to push it against the side of the board. The easiest algorithm, the one that I teach kids, you don't need the knight at all, right? Because the king and rook
Yeah.
is enough. You create a box around the enemy king, and you just keep shrinking the box until eventually he's stuck against the side of the board. No checks, because if you play a check, he gets to pick which side he goes to, and he just goes to the bigger side. So you just slowly
push.
shrink.
You call it an algorithm, but I call it cutting off the escape route.
Well,
when I'm talking to second and third graders, they like the idea of cutting off the escape route.
Right. But I think the word algorithm applies. It's like in a programming sense, it's like a step-by-step model of actions that you can take to achieve a given end. And there are a lot of positions, especially these sort of fundamental in-game positions, where knowing these, I mean, if you get to a position where you have like 10 seconds on your clock, but you have 5-second delay, you have 5 free seconds per move. If you don't already have a predetermined algorithm for dealing with this in-game structure, you don't have time to find it, right? Like you need to know.
In that case, you really don't. You have to know. But I love the fact that you say algorithm and I say cut off the escape route, because I think that's a classic example of why you are a chess player and I play chess. It blesses both of our lives, but you take it to a different level than I take it to. But there's room for both types of people in the chess world. I play chess. I'm not a great strategist, but it sure has blessed my life in so many ways. And that algorithm, that's the way your brain thinks, and that's why you are rated what you're rated, and a whole lot better than I am.
Well, I don't know if that's a standard chess term. It's from programming, so it's
I've never read it in a book, but I think it's your personality, and I just adore it. So that's very good, Jonathan. I'm glad. It's the difference between us. I'm not ever going to be teaching a kid to play and talk about algorithms, even though I understand that, and I think it's just great that you are.
Right.
But I'm going to be talking about, like when I talk about the bishop's move, I talk about you open the door so the other pieces can move out. Until you open their door, the bishops can't move.
Right.
So. But that's kind of a kid's way of explaining things. But I'm usually good enough to beat the 5th grade, Jonathan. I'm not a great player. I can beat most 5th graders, but after the 5th grade, they beat me.
I don't know if you guys have had any, but I've had a bunch of 5th graders that are 14, 1500.
Yes.
I had a 5th grader the other day that was 18.
Yeah, yes, those few need to go beyond me, that's for sure. But those kids that are effective 900s, I can kind of hold my own with those.
Right.
Yeah. But that's about my level. I know I don't have to have a U.S. Chess Federation rating to know how good I am, because I know who I can beat.
Maybe you should.
And I know who I need to send off to someone else.
It's never too late to start playing in tournaments.
That's true. I need to play in a few tournaments just to know what I've subjected children to all these years. But it's also humbling. One of the more humbling moments in my life was when I took a group of students to Water Valley. Craig mentioned the Water Valley tournament earlier. Upton Reynolds and Liz Reynolds were big players down there at that time, and I think they still are playing. But I took a group to the Water Valley tournament, and they were doing a Skittles challenge where you had to beat a coach. And if somebody beat us, we had to give them a Post-it note or something, and that was how they earned points or Skittles or something. And whenever I was free, all the kids ran over and tagged me because I was a girl, and I was perceived as the easy win, and that hurt my feelings. It was embarrassing.
Right. Well,
but okay, now who is this person that has just joined us? I recognize Dr. Beelington. Hello.
Jeff, you are currently muted.
Yes, unmute yourself, Dr. Beelington.
I know you are a sort of a public figure, maybe Dr. Beelington, but Sorry. I've known you for so long. It's hard for me to not just call you Jeff.
Oh, that's right. I'm just the guy you met when you were a first grader.
Right.
Uh-huh.
All right, I'll let you two take over, I guess.
Well, no, Dr. Bulington, hello. I will call you Dr. Bulington because I have told my children if I ever get my PhD, they're going to call me Dr. Mama, which
Okay.
I do not plan to get my PhD. I have stopped at this point. I'm too busy paying for other people's education at the moment. But welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Sure.
And you are spearheading the movement of chess towards chess is already a Mississippi High School Activity Association approved sanctioned activity, which is exciting. We are yet to have our first statewide tournament, but we are eagerly, if COVID has thrown a loop in that.
Sure.
But I'd like for you to update us on what's going on with Mississippi chess, both the adult and scholastic side of things, and then also what to expect from Mississippi High School Activity Association.
All right. Well, what I think, first of all, is that what you all are doing today is a big deal for Mississippi chess. And
God bless you.
Setting a real nice example for the rest of us. It's great to see so many kids being able to play chess, and also the commentary that you and Jonathan and Craig and others have been giving. All of it's helpful and useful. I think that what we need more than anything, as far as high school chess, is more opportunities for kids and teachers to learn how to do what you're doing. I think that's really where our future lies.
Well, at this point in my career, I try to be a coach of coaches, but there are plenty teachers that play better than I do. But that's one reason. You may have missed Alan Underwood earlier, but Dr. Bulington, we were talking about how there's a difference in being a chess player and being someone who plays chess. And I'm someone who plays chess, and so is Alan Underwood, the coach at South Haven High School. But we still have a place in the process because we can share this experience with children and give them this wonderful opportunity. And chess has blessed our lives, though we have never risen to being the chess player status. That's okay. I can take being a pawn pusher in certain settings, but I've been exposed students to this opportunity, and that's what this is about.
So. Well, in my opinion, people like yourself, Jeff Bolheis in the MSCA, other people that are organizers in the state are essential people. They're just as important as the chess players are. And
Jeff and Denise Bolheis have given hours to chess in Mississippi thanklessly, and I am so thankful to call them friends. So yes.
Well, I think though that that kind of organizing, grassroots chess organizing, is the most important thing. So that, again, going back to what you're doing right now, somebody somewhere is watching this, hopefully, and saying, hey, I would like to try to involve my students in that. And just putting it out there in this public format so that people can watch without having to drive or take kids. I think an ounce of demonstration is worth a pound of emails.
Well, but it also, if a parent's out there watching and wants to know how to take their child to the next level, I'm the chess lady at DeSoto County Schools. You don't have to remember my name, because if you call the switchboard and say, I want to talk to the chess lady, they're going to figure out who you're asking for. And I'll be happy to give advice to anybody that wants to know more about how to help a student do just about anything, but especially chess.
The Mississippi Chess Association, which is the state affiliate of the U.S. Chess Federation, is we have a state scholastic coordinator named Jay Mitchell, who people can also contact through the MCA website.
Is he that person from Tupelo?
No, he's not.
Okay.
Jay's from the Jackson area.
Okay. I probably met him. I'm better with faces than with names. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. Right. So, but anyway, I can't stay very long, but I did want to pop in and thank you for what you're doing. And, Jonathan too, this is wonderful.
Yeah, Jonathan's the brains here. Jonathan and Alex King are the
Of course.
people that have making this possible, and I'm the friendly person that invites people to come chat. But that's it's kind of like when we have on-site tournaments rather than online tournaments. I'm the one that makes sure the bus shop knows how to get the kids there. You know, it takes all kinds. So
Well, that kind is that's the kind we can't live without, though, right? I mean, the person who gets kids to play, that makes those kinds of arrangements. And the thing is that people, unfortunately, sometimes think, oh, I'm not that good of a chess player, so I can't get involved in organizing my students. My high school chess coach, to the extent he was one, was more of a very dedicated chauffeur than anything else.
he's a facilitator.
He
Yeah.
got us where we needed to be. You know, he was the faculty representative, but as far as chess goes, that wasn't his strength, but it just didn't need to be. You know,
Yes.
we did our own thing with the chess, but it was nice having that kind of support.
I agree. You need someone to
champion those
expose you to it, and then someone to facilitate.
Right.
And the best chess players are often self-taught. Now, people like Jonathan are valuable chess coaches, are wonderful.
Oh, of course.
But I'm also, you know, there are different steps along the way, and
But teachers have such skill. I mean, one of the teachers' main skills is organizing kids, and so
yes, that's true. We are
creating
good at that.
coaches-
Line
yeah,
up. Yeah.
Right, having people organize kids so that they get exposed to chess, and then they get to play in tournaments, and then encounter people like Jonathan and Alex and so forth. That's how this whole thing can really change and become something bigger than it is.
Yes.
When my father started running the chess club at Grahamwood, when he won a bunch of state championships and stuff, he would have been no stronger than a 500 level player.
Yes.
I mean, he could play. He understood the basic ideas. Most of the kids were better than him. Right? But
Yeah.
And he's one of the best chess coaches you'll ever meet.
Yeah,
Right.
and
For kids at
Grahamwood,
that level, right?
Right.
Grahamwood has a long tradition. I was a young teacher in the 90s, and everybody knew what Grahamwood was on the national level, not only with chess, but in many ways. So, and if your father was part of what made that happen, that speaks volumes. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, well, I'm going to have to move on, but it was great talking to the two of you this morning, and keep up the great work.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, Dr.
Thank
B.
you, Dr. Bulington. I'll talk to you again soon.
All right, bye-bye.
See you later.
Yeah, Doctor. I think some of his students that he coaches calls him Dr. B, but I'm just not quite there yet.
Yeah, I sometimes do that. Like it's.
Yeah,
For
you
me,
can call him Jeff. You've known him forever, but he was Dr. Bulington when I met him, and I'm very pleased that he has decided to move to, of all places, Meadville, Mississippi, and making a difference there.
I haven't been down there yet. I should go down there and see. I know he has like a dedicated building for chess and stuff.
I have I've been through Meadville one time in the last 5 years, and I actually tried to find him, but I only had an extra 10 or 15 minutes, and I didn't stop and ask, where is the chess club? I'm sure had I stopped, I could have found him. But I have reason to go to South Mississippi occasionally, and next time I'm down that way, I will make sure I have enough time to go find him. So.
Really? Yeah. He
Well, now,
he used to
where
run
are we? Have we
programs
started
here.
round 5 yet?
We are a few minutes into the 4th round.
Okay, good. Well, I'm just trying to make sure that Mike Stewart is expecting to
we-
call in. I'm
We're
worried
in the
about
3rd
these
round.
chats.
Sorry. Yeah, we're in the middle of round 3.
Round 3. Oh, good.
Yeah,
Well,
so
I
we're
am
about halfway through.
okay. Well, I am. I'm interested in the chats, and Mike Stewart will join us later today, and he is. When I was a young teacher, he was a chess master by that time, and I haven't looked it up recently, but for many years Mike Stewart was the highest rated chess player in Mississippi. Well, he no longer has that distinction, but he is the highest rated native born Mississippian who still lives in Mississippi, because
Yes.
some of the former people that he coached have now outrated him, but they live in Texas, and we've had several people move into the state with higher ratings, but he is a homegrown Hernando Tiger. And he has a wife who teaches at DeSoto Central Middle School and a daughter that teaches at Lewisburg High School, I think. And he has helped chess in DeSoto County for many, many years. But also a shout out to Denise and Jeff Bolheis, who were mentioned there. They are two DeSoto County parents who have organized Mississippi Scholastic Chess for several years. And I think Jeff is now the vice president, but he was president for many, many years. And I hope that they will come in for a chess chat at the elementary tournaments, because they do an awful lot at the club level to help kids on the east side of the county, or kids who can drive to the east side of the county, and meet him at McAllister's. He'll give them a Wednesday night lesson, and it's his community service, and
Right.
he has spent the hours invested in it. Thankfully to the rest of us.
Some of these games are going all right.
Okay, well that's good.
Let's see. Yeah, some of the top players are starting to coalesce into playing each other. Some of
Yes, it's into round 3 and 4. That's usually what's happened.
This kind of development. The knights on the side of the board. I'm not really sure what's going on here.
Who wants a half-powered Jedi? I mean, think about your lightsabers. Do you want a lightsaber with half its power? Of course not. And when you put a knight against the wall, you've got a half-powered Jedi. Of course, you can tell that's an old. I taught in the 90s. I go into the classrooms today, and they don't know who Jedis are anymore. It's heartbreaking.
I don't know. You probably don't know this character, but my Lichess name, G. Admiral Thrawn, is a Star Wars character from the expanded universe. Some of the books written in the 1980s. Mm-hmm. Some of the kids recognize the name because the character has been brought into some of the more recent cartoons. But
yes.
No, these books were put out before I was born. So
yeah, the Clone Wars and things. Well, yeah, before you were born, but I was a high school kid in the 80s. I got to see the Star Wars phenomenon firsthand. It's sort of my generation. But I've got to update my analogies. I was trying to use some Fortnite metaphors the last time I was working with some kids and saying, okay, the knights are cannon, you know.
I don't know.
And the pawns are like the architects. They're out there building your structure. And those metaphors were a little better than my Star Wars metaphors. They'd all played Fortnite.
They sure do. Talk about Fortnite is banned in my chess club.
Yes.
I got real tired of it.
But I'm sure
I banned
you did,
Minecraft years ago.
I could use it for some analogies.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you know, gaming is now a important thing in the lives of lots and lots of kids, and I'm not against gaming. I guess addiction is a problem for anything. You know, it's wrong to be addicted to anything, but and there are lots of people addicted to gaming. But if you can not addicted to it, it is a wonderful mind builder, strategic, a way to socially network. It offers a lot of good things to those students who participate.
Yeah, I play a lot of video games, more than I would like to admit to my students.
Yeah, since Nintendo and Mario went out of fad, I really hadn't played much lately. But I do know Fortnite and a few things like that. Just a few. But just because I don't play them myself doesn't mean that I don't understand that they can be great ways for kids to think.
Right.
And practice thinking. But there's nothing like the classic chess. I mean, everything else is. I used to say that when you play chess, everything else is checkers, but that offended a few people that were in checker tournaments. So,
I mean, checkers it's a solved game from a computer science perspective.
Yeah, we go that algorithm thing again. Yeah, I understand.
So a lot of checkers tournaments, they start from a predetermined set of a couple of moves because it's solved from the initial position. But it's not solved from every position, so
yes.
they play. It's like starting halfway through the opening in a chess game. But checkers is difficult, especially the appropriate rules where captures are forced and stuff like that.
I, 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 I have had that explained to me, especially after saying that everything else was checkers. That I have had that explained to me in length. But that's and I respect those people who want to play checkers at that level. I do. But one of the things that I'm interested in helping students be exposed to is bridge. And the American Contract Bridge League is stationed here in DeSoto County. And they have supported our teachers over the years by giving lessons free and support clubs. That's another less popular than chess, but still statistics. It's a active live statistics.
My old chess teacher, National Master Paul Linksweiler, is now he writes for a bridge magazine, so he's a bridge professional. He no longer gives chess lessons and stuff, but he's a national master. He's a very strong chess player. He decided he wanted to do bridge instead.
Well, I know this about bridge, that they have resources and money that the U.S. Chess Federation doesn't have, and it's sort of like those two organizations are upside down. The average age of a person who plays chess and is a member of the U.S. Chess Federation is relatively young. It's probably in the scholastic age, because as they get older, they don't pay their U.S. Chess Federation dues, and not that many adults play in tournaments, where the average age of a bridge player may be 70. And so but they've got money, they've got resources. They've lived a life, they're retired. They have people like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett who contribute to them. And so they have resources. They just don't have young players. Chess has lots of young players, but less resources, respectively. Yeah. Let me see who this is. And I hope it's somebody calling about chess. So, hello.
I'll go ahead and mute you. Let's see. There's some interesting games going on. This one, there's a forced mate here. Black has been able to take the queen for quite some time, but just hasn't. Queen here was checkmate and won, so that would have been better. Hopefully none of the kids are currently watching the stream. If you're watching the stream right now, you shouldn't be. Because if I start commenting on your game, you shouldn't be hearing it.
Okay, I'm back. Yes, and we have some situations where on one side of the room they'll be playing chess, and on the other side of the room they'll have the Twitch channel on low, because we don't have two rooms. And I think that's fine. What I stressed with my teachers was the spirit and the spirit of the law and the letter of the law. The spirit of the law is don't cheat, and so make sure that your students, when they're playing, are looking away from the Twitch channel and not listening to it. They're focused on their game. I don't think we have very many players who have the skill to overhear discussion and visualize that on the board and make competent decisions and moves that way. That's a advanced skill. And right. I think I would know it if we had some children out there doing that. I haven't
really been extensively commentating on games. We spent most of the time talking and stuff, but
yes, but even if you did, I don't think that I think if we had a young student out there that could close their eyes and play chess based on chess notation, verbalizing chess notation, I think I would know that, because everyone would be very impressed with that, because that is an impressive skill that those of you who are chess players develop through, and you can read a chess notation game past the 7th or 8th move without the board being there. And I'm not one of the people that can do that. I respect that skill, but I don't think I have a middle school student doing that either.
It's not as hard as you think. It just takes
Well, I can read the first 5 or 6 moves and visualize them.
Right.
I'm not good. If I move 25, I'm kind of lost. So, but that's okay. I do other things.
Yeah, I don't play that much chess in my free time anymore. I spend so much time giving lessons and stuff that, when I'm sitting around not playing. I don't think I'm gonna go play more chess. It's like going to do something at work and then coming home and doing the same thing. You know, most people don't do that. I play mostly other games. Like in the stream overlay, I have my online Go account and my 81 Dojo. I play Go and Shogi, which are Asian games. Shogi is Japanese chess.
Yes,
Sort of similar rules and stuff.
Yeah, I have seen it. I've never tried to play myself. I think I'm a little bit more familiar with Go. We had some people from New York come to DeSoto County to work with one of our elementary schools because they met online, virtually, and were invited down here, and we treated them to chicken and dressing and a good old Southern cornbread and some things like that, and they worked with our students on Go, and I went and watched. But so I'm familiar with it, but I've never tried to play.
The rules are really simple, way simpler than chess, but the game is really hard. Right? It's just you place down stones. If your stones get surrounded, they die. The person who controls the most territory wins. There, that's it. That's the whole rule.
I've heard that if you can see moves in Go, it helps you see moves in chess. Would you say that I've been told correctly?
Well, the ability to calculate does generalize across games. So as a Go player, I understand the theory not so well, but there are lots of times where I can get a poor position in the mid game, but a player of my same rating, although they have a better understanding of the theory of the game, once we get into the complicated tactical stuff, I can calculate far because I'm used to calculating deep in a chess game. Although they are different skills, it's not quite the same because it's a totally different game. But when I play Shogi, I have the same sort of situation, but I'm much better at Shogi than I am at Go because Shogi is a form of chess, and so my chess skills generalize over better. And I can calculate more deeply. You know, the goal of Shogi is checkmate, just like in chess, and all of that kind of stuff.
Well, Shogi, if you can see moves in Shogi, does it transfer and help you better see moves in chess? Or maybe you are so far above that skill that it's not really that helpful to you, where it might be helpful to someone like me, because, you know, Mike Stewart told me one time that I was night blind, because that's another expression for, and
that's common.
Maybe I am. Ever since he told me that, I think I'm less night blind than I was. But does it help you see moves?
Well, it sort of depends. You know, Shogi has a lot of the same tactical and strategic principles, pins, forks, you know, because a lot of the pieces move the same way. You have a bishop and you have a rook, but the pieces in Shogi don't move as fast. You have one rook, which is the strongest piece. You have one bishop, which is the second strongest. And every other piece just moves one square at a time. You have a knight, but unlike in chess, where the knight can go in all 8 directions, in Shogi, the knight can only go to the forward 2 squares. So it just only goes forward, and it doesn't go backwards, doesn't go sideways. And when a piece is captured, you can place it on the board. So if I capture my opponent's gold general, which is one of the pieces, I can place that piece on the board on one of my subsequent moves. And so it's not like in chess where you have chess is inevitably, every capture reduces the number of pieces on the board, right? Yes. So the number of pieces on the board in a chess game never goes up. It only ever goes down. Even when you promote, it just changes into a different piece. But in Shogi, there are always pieces in your hand, you know, so, and the pieces in your hand are more dangerous than they are on the board because they can show up anywhere. You know,
now, I have seen some team chess playing where 2 on 2, when one person captures, they can turn around and place it on their partner's board.
Yeah.
And that was fascinating. I used to want my own children to try to play that a little bit, but they weren't as impressed with that as I was. So.
Yeah, Bughouse is a lot of fun, but it's very
Bughouse,
complicated.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm a very strong Bughouse player. I'm better at Bughouse than I am at normal chess.
I am. I liked Bughouse because I liked the variable, but I could still understand the rules.
Yeah. There is a 2-player game called Crazy House, which is like Bughouse, except if you capture your opponent's piece, you can play it. So it's sort of the same rule as Shogi. But the difference is that chess is not very well balanced for mechanics like that because the pieces in chess are so powerful. Like in Bughouse, I can sacrifice pieces to rip open my opponent's king, and then just tell my partner, just capture anything you can. I don't care if it's a good trade, just take anything. Because every single piece you give me is just more fuel for the attack.
More fuel for the attack, and keeps you alive longer, because if you have a plan to capture their queen, that's going to help your opponent a great deal, your partner a great deal.
But there are a lot of
for those people
stuff
out there, we may have some parents listening to us who are trying to follow some of this, and I would kind of liken Bughouse and some of the things that we're talking about here. There's a lot of people who've played poker, and there are different forms of poker that you can play, Texas Hold'em and so forth. And that's a simplistic explanation, but it's I think it's one that some of the people listening might get, that this is what we're talking about. It's just variations.
Well, there are a lot of, I can pull this up really quickly, actually.
I'm leaving again.
No, it's you're not fun, but
Okay. I thought I had dropped again.
No. I'm sharing my screen, so I pulled up a new tab. But there are a lot of different chess variants. Chess 960 involves a randomized back row. It's named that because there are 960 different ways to arrange the pieces, and so that way there are no openings, right? Because every single game you start with a different position, but it's the same for both sides. So both players' pieces are on the same squares.
I could see that being a good mid-game strategy. If you want to improve that for your students, do that and let them play.
Yeah, it's not so bad. 3 check. If you check your opponent 3 times, you win. King of the hill. If you get your king to one of these 4 squares, you win. Yes. But you don't just want to run into the center, because you won't be able to get there, and your king will be too exposed. So some of the variants are fun, but you shouldn't spend too much time playing them.
Well, one of the things that I, as a coach of children, and also when I was a child, had a few people play me this way, was, if the difference was dramatic between my skill level and the person I was playing skill level, even as far as giving up the queen, bishop, knight, and rook on one side, just wiping it out, and then playing heads up. And then when you beat that person who was down that much material, then they put one more piece on the board. And then y'all might play again for months before you beat them again. And then when you beat them again, it was like you earned the right to play them closer and closer to heads up. And I've done that with kids before. And I've also told, as my role as coach of coaches, if we've got one just killer kid in a group of 10 and they're not improving because they're wiping people out, take their queen away. Because young kids have probably mastered how to play the queen well. And if you take the queen away and let them start then, you're handicapping them. But you're making them learn to play other pieces.
I mean, those are handicap games are appropriate for developing players, but for stronger players, the gap material is too much of an advantage for stronger chess players, right? So for beginners, it's very common, they'll drop a rook, they'll drop a piece, and so a material advantage at the beginning of the game doesn't make a big difference. But there is not a chess player alive that could give me a knight handicap and still win. I mean, Magnus Carlsen, if I played Magnus Carlsen...
That's a brave statement there.
A knight is a lot of material. If I played...
A knight is a deadly force in the middle of the board. It is.
Or just any,
he owns
any
a lot of property.
Material. If I played Magnus Carlsen 100 times, the current world champion, he would beat me 100 times in a row, easily. It wouldn't even be close. But the handicap of a full piece, a knight or a bishop, would be more than enough for me to close that gap. Because at that level, that material is enough. But for beginning players, it's very common for them to just drop a piece or something. Piece handicaps are appropriate for closing a skill gap.
Yeah, for young, I agree. When I was the coach of young students and the coach of when I was a young child myself, but goodness, I had no idea that the skill level over 2000 was really that close as to having a one piece difference. See, I'm nowhere near that skill level myself, so I guess I just didn't realize
that starts before me. I probably couldn't spot my 1200 or 1300 level students a knight or bishop handicap. I mean, that's because once you get to that level, you understand, like, when you're up material, the easiest way to win is just to develop your pieces, play solid, safe chess, and trade pieces, because the closer you get to the end game, the more that extra piece matters. And my only option, if I'm playing down a piece, is to just go crazy and start attacking, and maybe that'll work. I mean, maybe I can just make something happen before they can activate all their pieces, but it shouldn't work.
No,
because you have all this extra.
I've just never had it explained to me quite that way. So if there's some parents out there listening, that's an interesting point, and I certainly trust that you know. It's just I'm not that good to have known that. That's really good.
Yeah, it's a good way for developing players. But in a game like shogi, where the pieces come back, piece handicaps are appropriate even at higher levels, because if I start the game with an extra couple of pieces, when my opponent captures those pieces, they also get those pieces back, and so you don't have this slow, inevitable decline towards an end game where the extra material makes a huge difference. Like the extra material does matter, but it's not a permanent long-term advantage. So piece handicaps in shogi are more interesting than in chess. There are.
Well, how many players do we have playing right now, Jonathan? I mean, how many are still in the tournament? That's what I'm asking. We had several kicked out. At the beginning of this round, how many were playing?
Well, some of them came back. There are 57 ongoing games, which means out of 122 players, currently 112 of them are playing.
Oh, right. Yes, South Haven. Welcome, South Haven and DeSoto Central. Yes. That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
In the second round, we only had 88 playing, so most of them appear to have returned.
I am so happy about that. Maybe the action of those wonderful principals, they seized the day and got the right person to help solve the problem or whatever it was. But I'm happy that these kids are at least having a few rounds.
There are a few players who haven't made a move yet, but maybe they just haven't realized the round has started. It's only been 2 or 3 minutes. Someone's asking how to see what place their children are in. You may be able to go to the tournament page itself and view it. I can sort of slowly scroll through. There are 122. There's not a great single centralized location. I'm sure once the tournament is over, everyone will be notified about who got what place, but
it'll probably be tomorrow, because I want to get with Alex and make sure I know. But we will, and we'll award trophies next week, and they will be engraved with their name on it, or their school name on it, or their school and coach's name on it. And because trophies will come in later this time because we're virtual, we've had an opportunity to do some really cool stuff. So I'm
someone
pleased with
else
that.
asked if there's a way to see which schools are in the lead, and there is no way to do that at the moment.
Not right now, no.
It's not separated by teams, and there is one more round after this one. Okay, someone got a pretty quick checkmate. Someone castled into an attack on the open file over here. Some of these really aggressive, like super early mates, you just have to pay attention to what's going on. Black had better development, but if you don't see your opponent's threats, things can end in a quick fashion.
Well, I mean, they use their queen, but I often, talk about in metaphorical terms, but young players, very, very young players, love to bring those rooks out early. I mean, that because they understand how the rook moves, and they'll bring those rooks out, and the rooks are just so unimportant at that stage of the game. However, that move right there told me to be quiet. But I always tell my kids that's just kind of a wasted move to open the pawn up in front of a rook very early in the game.
Right. Well, I mean,
But that kid did it, didn't they?
But it works, right? That's the
It
thing.
worked
Like,
there,
it's-
but most of the time it doesn't work. In
Right.
that case, it worked, but most of the time that is just a waste of piece development.
right.
And you want to keep those rooks at home until, and I use this metaphor, the rook looks like a castle. Well, remember, the castles aren't hiding from anybody. They're the big rocks on top of the hill, and you can see them from miles away. Well, you can see rooks moving from miles away. They don't fool anybody. Now, the bishops of the night, they might fool a few people, but not the rooks.
Right.
They're not going to fool anybody. But,
it's hard to keep kids from doing things that work. So the best way to stop them from doing stuff like that is to raise the general level of play. You have to make sure that they're playing against people who, if they do the wrong thing, they'll just crush them for it, and then they'll finally stop. Yeah. I mean, I've had kids, they do the 4-move mate, and I keep telling them, this doesn't work against good players, but then they go on Chess Kid and they play against other kids and they win a bunch of games with it, and
yes,
it's hard to tell them not to do it.
I know. So that's why we need chess coaches and chess clubs like that. But also, if you tell them, keep that rook at home. You're not fooling anybody. You can see the rook from miles and miles away. You can see a castle from miles away. Everybody knows where it is. So just remember that when you move. But anyway, I'm glad to know that we had over 100 players in this round. That's
we do have a few idlers, but it seems like a few of them came back and started
I just
moving.
sent a text message out that said some of your players are paired and they don't know it. If they're black, move. And so maybe somebody read the text message. So
one common thing that's happening in this tournament is players are just playing too fast.
yes, they're very, yes, I agree with that.
They've got to slow down. My old chess coach used to make me sit on my hands during lessons.
Yes, I've told my students to sit on their hands during tournaments because of touch it, move it.
Right.
And I, as you can tell, I'm a person that talks with my hands, and it's easy to let your fingers dance across the chessboard, and that's not acceptable in a tournament. So, definitely.
Yeah, it is touch move. Yeah, you have to be careful.
Well, this might be a good round for Craig Siraj to join us again, because we're deep enough into the tournament to where there may be some good pairings out there, and also we've got a lot more kids playing.
Yeah, since a lot of them are in the room with the stream, especially with the top kids. Typically, my analysis would involve a lot of arrows drawn on the board and all kinds of cues, but I don't really want to.
I mean, I wouldn't worry too much about that. I mean, it's an efficacy issue, and I have a lot of faith that our teachers are not going to allow cheating, and our students, if they're not looking at the Twitch channel, they're just not going to be able to cheat. And it's a cheating issue, and they know that we have high expectations.
Okay. Well, someone just dropped a queen, completely unnecessarily. There we go. All right. Well, Craig is back.
Oh, hey, Craig.
Hello.
Hey, Craig. Thank you
Hello.
for chiming back in. This might be some good opportunities to get an update. We've South Haven Middle and DeSoto Central Middle. Some of those players are in now, so I'm thankful about that. At least they'll have
Nice.
a few rounds.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that they couldn't get in from the beginning.
It was. We only had a few at each school get in. So, well, I'm going to go away for a few minutes and let y'all talk serious chess, and I'll stop
Okay.
giving my metaphors.
Well, maybe you can pick out one of these for us to take a look at, Craig.
What was that one in the upper? Just scroll up. The one on the main display.
This one. Yeah, this one looked real interesting a few moves ago. There were some weaknesses here,
Yeah.
but then White just dropped the queen. I mean, so.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, that's how it goes. But
Yeah.
there were definitely some some open lines.
Yeah, no, it looked really interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's how that goes.
Yep.
It's
Let's
a
go back
shame
to that.
because that player had won all of their previous games.
Wow. So we got 3 people with 4. We still have 32 games going though. Or is it 32 players?
Yeah, there are going to be a lot of perfect scores here because we're going to have 5, 6 or so players with 4 going into the 5th round.
Yeah, I think at the end of the 3rd round, we had 10 players that had perfect scores of 3. So at the end of the 4th round, we could have 5 players with 4, which will leave us almost or maybe 3 players with 5 at the end of the 5th round, depending on how they go. It's possible to have 3 players with 5, assuming that, there aren't any draws.
I mean, there are already 3, and there are there. Okay, we just have another, and there were 6 more games of players that already had 3. So we could have had up to.
Yeah, like I said, there were 10 players
6.
with 3 at the end of the 3rd round.
There were a few more. They had just already lost. There were 12.
At the end of the 3rd round?
Yeah. See, because there's 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we had 11, because this person also had 3 wins. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we could have up to 6 with 4 at the end of this round.
Could be 6.
And then 3 with 5 out of 5. That's how it goes. But a couple of these top games, some of them are quite quick. Back rank mate. That's how that goes. Let's see if this is.
Oh, that's a cool pattern.
Yeah, this person really likes to use the knights, although now the fork is covered, so we'll see if it shows up again later. We had a 50 move rule draw earlier. It was
I saw that.
King, knight, and rook, and they just couldn't.
There's actually 2 of them. There's another one with just a queen and a king.
Oh yeah. I must have missed that one.
Yeah, they just moved around.
Oh yeah, here it is. I see. Yeah, I just didn't have a way to. How many moves did this end up being? Wow, 127. The other one was 147. Because they had captured the last piece on the 97th move.
What's your longest over the board game, Jonathan? I think I witnessed it, so I'm curious if it is.
Just over 100 moves, I think. But I'm not sure. I actually don't know for sure. What was the game that you were talking about? I might remember.
The game that I'm talking about.
Are you talking about time or number of moves? Oh my gosh.
What's your number of moves? Curious if it is.
I don't know.
The game that I'm talking about was number of moves. I actually, you had me and Gary Pilot come over. You were, what's his name? The guy from Cuba.
Talking about Elaine?
Oh, what's his name? Elaine. Yeah, you were playing Elaine. Long time ago.
Yeah, that would have been a few years ago.
But I thought it was like 130 or something, but I couldn't remember.
It may have been something like that. Because he doesn't like me, so he wouldn't take the draw. But that's not a secret. As far as I'm concerned, you take one phone call during a chess game with me, and you've made an enemy for life.
So scroll down. Let's see some of these games. I can only see 3 of them right now on the screen.
All right. This one looks interesting.
Whoa, what's going on with board number 30? Oh, it disappeared. Maybe it just had to refresh.
Yeah, or maybe it finished.
No, it looked like there had been like just a few moves played.
Yeah,
there we go. Wait, board number 25.
It keeps
middle.
It keeps. There we go. Yeah. This person may have just been really late to the round,
Yeah, that boy right there.
and just started playing. So I mean, the opening looks fine. It's
Yeah.
just
It's very late.
this player is missing like almost 15 minutes of time. But I once, many years ago, 8 years ago, we used to do the city championship one game a week instead of doing it
Yep,
all
I remember
in
that.
one tournament. And
I remember that.
I had scheduled a game with Nilsson. For whatever reason, I'm blanking on his name. I like the guy, Norwegian guy, and I just completely forgot about it. And I got a text. An hour and a half into the game asking if I was going to show up to play. And so I showed up with 20 minutes on my clock. He'd just been sitting there reading the newspaper or whatever for almost 2 hours. And I ended up winning that game.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
He should have waited a little while longer before texting you.
Well, my dad was the one that texted me. So, but yeah, I was like, I guess I should go play my game. And I just kind of threw pieces at his king, and it worked.
Now, was that for the actual championship, or was that for like the candidates?
Yeah, that was for the city championship.
Wow.
Yeah, we've always done the candidates as one event, right? Because there's going to be like 30 people. But for the city championship, we used to have 8. And so there would be 7 games played over 7 weeks. But now we just do it all in one weekend. Well, what else is going on? Are there any...
Gentlemen, I guess silence is a virtue. Is that?
No, we've been talking. I mean, not the whole time.
Yeah, I don't think we've stopped.
I don't know if...
Unless no one can hear us.
Definitely they can. Otherwise, someone would have complained in the stream. Let's see.
Do we have any more games where someone can get 4 points that's still going?
Yeah, this one, the one where
5.
White had dropped the queen, but
Okay.
this one I don't think is going to go on for much longer. I mean, this and Black is just up 15 points of material at this point. So
Yeah.
that should be one-sided. So it looks like those are all basically determined. So we know who the 6 people with a perfect score are going to be. Well, okay, something could change, right? It could be a stalemate or something.
Yeah,
But
could be a stalemate. Can't
late,
rule that out.
This late in the tournament, by the time you've won 3 games in a row, you've proven
Right,
you at least know your fundamentals.
The quality of games should be going up and up and up as each round progresses. So
Right. And yeah, there are a few. There's this. This is, it's a theoretical draw, right? I don't
it
know
is.
if they know, because this bishop can never
Has
support.
much hope there.
Well, the bishop's
No.
on opposite colors, right? So the idea is the bishop can never support this advance. So
Yeah.
the bishop just goes and runs away, and eventually White will push, and you'll take. There is no way to win here.
Yeah,
Opposite color
I'm
bishop.
with you on
Well,
that.
this
Unless they make a colossal mistake, which we've seen happen.
should have just pushed. But yeah, the bishop should stay on this diagonal forever. There is no counterplay. But I don't know why the bishop is like wandering around. I guess the bishop is aimed at the promotion square. This is good enough, but it's not the...
Now, there's no
Optimal
way that
endpoint.
players can hear us commentate their games, right? They can't listen to the stream while they're playing,
They
right?
in all actuality, no, they can't. In some
Okay.
situations, the Twitch is in low on one side of the room, and the players are playing facing the other wall on the other side of the room. But
I
we
gotcha.
don't have any players with the skill to visualize and interpret, without actually looking at the piece. We just don't have anybody there.
Oh, well, now this is over. White's going to promote.
Oh,
Because
look,
Yep.
Black didn't
We-
actually
they
cover the
messed
diagonal.
up. They messed up. Yeah,
Yeah, well, you have
we've
to...
seen them below it before.
Yeah.
They played a
I've
series
seen
of
much
very-
worse than this.
And plus, Craig, I also know that our teachers are very conscious and not
Okay.
wanting
I just want to make
students
sure before I
think-
started saying winning
Yeah.
strategies on a particular position.
I think
that we were
I think it's
confident
okay
that-
to point out winning strategies.
Okay.
I just don't have a problem with that. I just don't think there are very many people that are going to be able to make that connection. But even if they were, and I know that our teachers are actively engaged out there right now, and they're not going to let someone cheat, and our students know they're expected to be at a higher standard. So
Right.
I just think that in this case, we need to treat students amiably and not lose the opportunity of having two fine chess players offering strategy. That would be a much greater loss than one student thinking, oh, maybe I better not move my pawn, you know.
So it looks like the that game right there, number 28, is going to finish.
Yeah, if black ever moves the king. I don't know how long it's been, but this is forced mate in 1, so.
Yep. This is why we have clocks.
Yes. This is certainly the level where a kid might sit here for 18 minutes, without
Yes, it could be.
without
It could be.
moving.
And it's why we have blocks. But at the same time, I wouldn't, like I said, so many kids would benefit from hearing your strategies and suggestions, and the possibility of one student possibly getting advantage is so slim that that's just not my major concern.
I had a kid do this to me at nationals. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, Craig, but I had a nationals game, game in 2 hours. I just blitzed the guy, just destroyed him in the opening. It's like forced mate in 2 or something. 20 minutes into the game, he just got up and walked out. He didn't resign. He never came back. I had to sit and wait for his time to run out before I could actually claim a win, because...
No, that has never happened to me. But see, I was fortunate where I didn't start playing chess until, I was in high school, really. So, people were a little bit more cordial. They would be a little bit more respectful of your time. But I have had some people try to cheat before, like push a pawn up 2 squares in the middle of the board so that they can queen first. Things like that I've called them out on. That was actually an adult once.
Well,
did
good.
that to
I'm
me.
glad you did.
I had witnesses there, so that was important.
Well,
Yes, and if you're both taking notation too, that's an example of when you want to take notation. Yeah.
Well,
Right.
Craig has a habit of getting into time scrambles at the end of the game where
I
the
do.
opportunity for cheating is definitely,
Yep.
more possible.
Yeah, because it's usually just me who's in the time scramble, so usually my clock is the low one.
Well, one of my sons learned that rule about if you're in the last 2 minutes and you move into check, the other person gets time added to their clock. He learned that rarely needed rule the hard way by doing it at a state championship tournament. And we've never forgotten that. So we'll never be caught like that again.
I mean, that... Yeah, but only if there's no time delay on the clocks, right? Like,
Yeah,
I guess I should go find
I think,
my...
and this was probably 10 years ago, and we were still playing with a lot of analog clocks. We weren't using digital clocks.
It's 2
Almost
minutes added, even if
exclusively
there is
then.
time delay.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
And all right, well...
Well, at that time, we were using analog clocks, at least a lot of the time at the state level, because we still owned a lot of them.
Right.
We don't own any more. They've broken, but and so we just replace them with digitals. But
Yeah, this is still sitting mate in 1 in this position for some time. I got a wandering king. White is up a decent amount of material. I was looking. What was I looking at here? Some kind of queen here. Yeah, this, and then if you're check, yeah, king f4, rook d4 here. G6 is king e5, queen here is mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to cover the escape square. You can't let the king get back into g2. if king e3 here, queen e4 is mate, like, but this is the kind of thing, like, I don't want someone to be watching this, and yeah, but
Well, they're not sitting there watching this and playing a game of chess at the same time. That's not happening. They might be overhearing it on low on the other side of the room, but no, they're not watching that and watching their chess game at the same time.
Do we have any players from home?
Home meaning what?
Distance learning.
Oh, yes, we'll have a few. We'll have
Okay.
a few virtual. Yes, that's one reason why we went virtual. So those students who are at, I kind of like to say on site and online, just because it seems to flow better than our virtuals or our VIPs. But our on site kids and our online kids were irrelevant. They could all make the team and they can all play today.
Cool. So we have a king and queen versus king in game on board. Is that 90?
yeah,
Looks like.
I'm not confident.
Doesn't appear that they. Yeah, it doesn't appear that they know the pattern.
Yeah, it's same here. The extra bishop might be a liability. We've seen a lot of stalemates with extra pieces before this tournament. Yeah. We have this guy was 20 minutes behind on the first move, but then managed to get in.
Oh,
so
just moved.
Yeah, he's playing
Wow.
now. Oh
I
man,
love
That feels like me in my games.
they didn't see. This is forced mate, Rook d4.
Yeah, right there. Yep. But you got to give up the bishop. That's for the
Yeah. Because you have to. But the king on f5 is just way too exposed. There's.
Yeah.
Huh. I mean. I guess, but you can take it. I mean, this actually does avoid mate, because now you can block with the bishop, but
It does.
after
Right.
queen
Right.
takes, you can activate the rooks. So this is not where you want your king to be. This king should be hanging out at home.
Yes, he needs to be at home, or he should be castled. Yeah, hanging out inside the castle, but at that stage. But then at the end of the game, I've seen so many people that cut off their escape route with their own pieces. Sometimes the king is safer when he is alone at the very end of the game, because he's got more escapes.
And plus, you have to use the king going into the end game. The reason the king has to be protected is not that he's weak, just that you can't trade him away. The king is the victory condition. But
Board 95 just had a really good move.
He's the most important piece on the board. He may not be the most powerful.
he didn't
The queen's
take
the
it.
most powerful, but he's the most important.
No, if you go back. So they had the foresight to see that they need to take the pawn.
yeah, definitely have to prevent the promotion. White didn't take
But then
the
he
rook.
didn't take. Yeah.
There. Well, this he managed to promote and force a queen trade. Is there a way to? No, you can't force the king out of the way of the pawn. Okay, check here. Check. Because if the king steps in front, I think we take, and I'm actually not sure. I think the king comes up to protect this. Because there's not like a corner stalemate trick because there's other pieces on the board. I'm not sure how I would evaluate that in game at a high level, but I know how I would evaluate them here. It's a little different. I think these are both going to be draws. The player with the queen doesn't know the mate pattern.
So how many games are we in?
There are 7 games still ongoing, so there's one more that isn't shown here. And then after this, we have another round. This person is still... Oh, okay. They finally made the move. Great. Okay, so now...
Oh.
Sorry, we're down to 4. I apparently hadn't refreshed recently.
And that is a weird looking setup on board 71. All the pawns haven't moved. King still tucked.
Yeah, I mean, but this is typical beginner stuff.
Yeah.
They just bring the rook out. Okay. Well, all right. These are certainly legal moves.
Yep.
I mean, you got the rook,
Mm.
but then lost the bishop. Yeah, I would strongly recommend at least some kind of elementary chess book for basic strategy for a lot of these players, and a lot of practice. Go online, do some checkmate in one puzzles, watch some chess videos on YouTube, or
Well, I
something.
think that book that Craig mentioned earlier, Chess for Dummies, is a great tool for teachers to go through. I've owned a few copies of that book over the years, because you can get them inexpensive on eBay now. I mean, they're definitely out there in the used market, and I've given some to teachers, and that would be a great book for a elementary teacher interested in helping their kids. That would give them enough thought to, improve their own game, to help their students improve to a certain level. That's a good book for.
Yep. And just for clarity, it's
our
the
needs.
Idiot's Guide to Chess.
Okay, you did. There's a Chess for Dummies.
There
and
is a
Idiot's
Chess
Guide
for
to
Dummies, but I've
I've
never
had both
looked
of
at
them before, but and I've given them away. But I don't think I've read Idiot's Guide for Chess. I think I've read Chess for Dummies, but I've owned both of them before, because, like I
I'm
said,
sure they're similar.
I buy stuff off of eBay, and I like the For Dummies setup. It's just, they're all written
Yeah.
formula, and so you can kind of know where to look. But let me see. I'm gonna drop out a second. I'll be back in a minute.
I'm in that. Just king here, okay. Never mind, I guess.
The another good book is the Understanding Chess series. I'm trying to think who writes it.
You're not talking about the Saruman series, are you?
No, the John Nunn.
Yes.
Understanding Chess Middle Games and Understanding Chess End Games.
Dummies and Chess for Idiots.
Yeah, that's sort of
I want to
a.
hold it up and say, the first teacher who emails me.
Yeah, that's sort of a higher level. The Nun books, I have a few of those. Those are for weaker tournament level players, I think. But for beginners, play winning chess. There's a whole series, Yasser Seirawan.
Oh yeah, Yasser has a ton of books.
Yeah,
He's probably one of the most prolific chess authors there is.
I went through this book so many times as a kid, it fell apart. We had to buy 3 copies of it. But yeah, these are great for kids. Big text.
Yeah.
They're not a lot of complicated words.
Yeah. No, Yasser's a really good teacher. I like him. He has great stories too.
Right. Yeah, he does a lot of the streams. Oh, cool. They found a mate. He does a lot of the streams for the St. Louis club,
All
I
right,
think.
I am back, and the first teacher who emails me will win a copy of the highly recommended by the Master Chess Siraj, their own personal copy of Chess for Idiots, and I will pony this to the first teacher that emails me and asks me for it.
I should be that one that's a picky chess player. Neither Craig nor myself are masters.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Master is a title that you earn through performance and a specific rating.
But there are levels. Are y'all? What,
I know.
what is your level,
From a
Craig
colloquial
and
sense,
Jonathan?
it's easy to say, like, this player's a master because they're an accomplished player, but, like, competitive chess players get very picky about titles.
You're right.
They're a big deal to us. I would love to be a master. I'm an expert. I'm rated
You're an
2100. Master is about 2200.
Expert? Is there a different Is there a different classification for international?
I haven't played in international tournaments. There is FIDE Master. FIDE is the international ranking. So there's a FIDE Master, International Master, and Grandmaster. Okay. The USCF gives the National Master title, but they don't give titles above that. So Grandmasters and International Masters those are international tournaments. Alex King is a national master. Graham Horvitz is a
Now, Craig,
national master.
do you mind sharing your title, your level?
I
with
have
us?
no title. I'm just like a Class A player.
You're just
Um,
real good, huh?
I was a state champion once. That's about as much as I got.
Well, Class A, what are you? You're 1800 and up, right?
Yeah.
So Class A is the
And-
level just below expert, and expert is just below master. So
Great.
there is
Well,
a category.
So Jonathan, he's closing in on you. And Kimberly McDaniel has just won this copy of Chess for Idiots. But I will be looking for online inexpensive eBay versions, and I will be giving some more of those. But Kim McDaniels has won this book. So Sherry, if you, my sweet secretary here, Arvana, she's going to put that on the pony to Kim McDaniel right now.
I think these games could go on for some time. What do you think, Craig? Just duck the
Probably.
king.
And we are here.
Oh, well,
an
maybe not.
elementary
Hold on.
teacher, Kelly Cook. I will buy the next copy I buy off eBay. It's yours, and I'm especially happy to hear from Kelly Cook because she is a teacher of the 5th grade who is not in the tournament today, but some of her students are watching us. And see, if you deprive them of all your commentary, gentlemen, you're depriving them. So, but our 5th grade is watching too. Thank you. And Kelly, you get a free book.
Yeah, of course, there's a mate thread here. So, oh, well.
Yeah.
All right.
It's.
Did they
All right,
find
let's see
it,
if they
though?
see it. It could end very, very quickly. I once had a game where I was totally crushing. I believe it was Peter Pritchett. You know Peter.
Yeah.
And he's a very strong player. He usually beats me when we play Blitz. But it was a Blitz game that I was playing with him. It's an actual tournament game. And I was leaning over the board.
Hey, they found
Oh,
it.
they found it. Look at that. I was leaning over the board, and I was up a piece, and I just taken my rook, and I moved it all the way down, and was happy with my move. I was going to mate in 2, and totally neglected to look at my back rank, and because I was leaning so far over the board, and he checkmated me on the back rank, just like this game right here.
That's brutal.
So it was over in 1 move when I was winning. I was crushing.
Peter is strange to me because he's a very, very strong blitz player. He might be better at
He
blitz
is.
than he is at classical based on his Lichess blitz rating, but he plays openings the same as players who are typically terrible at blitz. You know, he plays these slow positional lines. Good blitz players normally play very aggressive, tactical
Aggressive,
chess.
yeah.
So Peter is like an exceptional blitz player, but plays all the wrong blitz openings. Well, in a typical sense, they're not bad. They're just it's not what good blitz players tend to play. Like Graham doesn't play that kind of stuff, and Graham is an excellent speed chess player. So I don't know how Peter keeps up with it. I have difficulty against him in blitz because I think Emily's talking, but she's muted, so I can't hear any of it.
Some people told me I was not muting enough, but no, at the lower skill level, the kids with the strong openings are going to win the blitz games.
Yeah, I mean,
they just get out there quick and they.
Here's a potential stalemate waiting to happen, maybe. Okay, they did take the bishop. We'll see what happens, but
Yep.
could be anything.
This is the last game, right?
Yes, and I would
this
just
round.
stay on that, but I'm also monitoring the chat, which the stream cannot see, but if the kids get annoying, I start muting them. It's a lot of fun, actually. Okay, good. Hiding the king.
These provisional ratings are making me laugh. All of them, so many above 2,000.
Yeah, what's even worse is they'll play in enough of these little events and it'll be non-provisional. And then they'll have like a non-provisional 2100 rating or whatever, and they're like a 700 strength player.
Yeah, I think technically right now, this account that my daughter's on is rated higher than mine.
Yeah, I mean
That's wonderful.
That's how that goes. I think the simplest solution would be that there should be no rating change if two provisional accounts play each other.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because it's not instructive. I actually don't know how the USCF does provisional players.
See, you can only have that rule though once you've established a large user base. Because in the beginning, everyone's provisional. You have to have provisional players playing each other.
Right, but
at some
tournaments like
point,
this would simply just not be rated. I mean,
right.
I hate to chime in, but I'm going to think I know the answer to the U.S. Chess Federation and provisional rulings. I think it's the first 20 games you play in a tournament.
Right, but
does anybody have an opinion on that?
That is, it's either 20 or 25. But the question was, all of these ratings, because these are brand new accounts, their ratings started at 1,500, and these ratings are significantly inflated.
Oh yeah,
like Craig's daughter's rating here, based on the provisional wins of this is higher than my rating is in this category.
Now, she's number 5 here. It's 2167.
Yes.
Right.
Or something like that. 2116.
But that's just from being in a closed pool of other provisional players.
Right.
And so my suggestion was that games where both players are provisional should simply not be rated. One player should have to have an established rating.
That's a good suggestion to send to LeChess. I think that's a good idea. Especially if they're encouraging scholastic players, and I know they are.
Maybe I can just write the code and send it in and see if they merge it.
Yeah, appreciate that. But there are other options. But I have so far been just thrilled with LeChess as a coach, and a coach of coaches, because I love the lesson format in it, and I love the fact it's free. We always enjoy free.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lee Chess is my favorite as well, but it's mainly because their app performs much better on my phone than chess.com's does. So
well, it's written
there tends to be a lag.
But there are some differences in the Lee Chess between the phone app, the tablet app, and the computer app. And for example, the Learn thing that you can click on and it'll put you through some little rudimentary lessons. I haven't been able to pull that up on my phone, but I can get it on a laptop.
But it's not in the app, right? The phone and tablet, it's the same thing. It's just there's a different interface based on the dimensions of the screen of the device, but it's the same APK for the Android app. And I don't know if iPhone, iPad have different apps, but I doubt it. But
and I'm Android. So, I mean, that might make a difference too. An Apple app might have something we don't have.
I don't think so. I think they're more focused on Android development because it's written for nerds. So corporate development, like iPhone and stuff, is behind. Like, for example, Craig mentioned
you sound like my husband. Proprietary.
Don't even remotely get me started. I am like
honey, I'm married to a retired database administrator who may occasionally talk about some algorithms himself. And no, but so we all use Android.
I've got dismantled computers all over the place. I've got a box of laptops in my closet. I'm one of those Linux guys. If you get me started on proprietary software, we'll be here all day. But
okay, well, let's not do that.
Yeah, chess.com is a good site.
I know the chess people that we hang with, so this is good.
Yeah, Craig, your video's been frozen for a while. We can hear you. I just got a snapshot of your smiling face, right?
But it's a nice smiling face.
Thank goodness I was smiling.
Yeah, it's not so bad. It's not like you got freeze framed on a really awkward position.
Well, I thought maybe he had just found a good picture and put it up there like sometimes we do on Zoom meetings.
I will be right back. I'll be back in a second.
Craig, how often does your chess, when you work with students, how often do you meet with them? Like, do you meet in the evenings with the Hernanda chess kids?
I
don't know if you can hear me, Craig.
Chess. Oh.
Craig, you're breaking up. I hope they can hear you.
Thank goodness I was smiling.
Okay, yes, you're there. You're back. I can hear you now. And it was a good picture.
Well, you say the evenings. It was right after school, so it was like an extracurricular activity. So immediately after school. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. But now I'm not hearing anything. Craig, you may be, you're frozen again in a different position, and I can't hear you. And I am searching eBay for Kelly Cook's book.
Can you hear me now?
Well,
Emily, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yes. Hey, Craig.
So I just unplugged it all and plugged it back in. Hopefully
Well, that's good. And you're moving now too. You're moving now too. So hopefully that'll work.
So
But,
what I was trying to say was that we met after school for just about an hour or so on one day a week. And then, well, right before the tournaments, we were doing 2 days a week. And then after the tournament, we would go to 1 day a week. And we kept it kind of open to anyone who wanted to come. So it was a fairly large number of kids.
Yeah, that's ideal. I know I have, for a long time, the chess cycle has kind of moved around. Normally, our big district tournament takes place in November, where this year just the high school one did, and then this one's now, and hopefully we'll have an elementary one later on. But normally, I've encouraged, when we've been lucky enough to have a dad coach, that if they would practice before the county chess tournament in November, and then after the tournament, take off that time between the tournament and Christmas, and then start back again in January and go into the state tournament, which is usually in March, or maybe April for the individual tournament. And then take off some more time, and then maybe come back in the summer for something special. But that way our volunteers don't get exhausted, but they're building up for those two big events.
Yeah, I would actually love to see this tournament get pushed back to like the end of the school year, because that way, like for me, we don't get a whole lot of time to prepare the students for this county tournament because it typically happens in November, and it's just a short amount of time in school starting. So you don't start teaching chess immediately when school starts. It's a couple weeks that go by to everyone to get ready and get involved. Then you have to select the team, and then you only get like a month or two to really train. So it'd be really nice if we could push this tournament back, and that way we could train, the kids all year long for the tournament. And of course, they would get spring training in there as well for the state tournaments. But at the elementary level, there's not a lot of people participating in the state tournaments. So
well, it's a feast to famine type of thing. Some years we'll have 5 schools represented down there from DeSoto County, and then some years if we've got one. But one of the things that we have tried to do with the support of Jeff Bolheis is offer school tournaments in the spring semester to sort of keep those most interested students going. And they're also small fundraisers for the spotlight programs. And last year, Olive Branch and Overpark both have a tradition of doing it. In years past, Pleasant Hill has offered one. And we had one scheduled for Horn Lake Intermediate, and the pandemic knocked that one out. And it was going to be a May tournament. But we might look at moving it back. It has been set on that week before Thanksgiving for so many years, for certain reasons, and it allows people know ahead of time when they can take days off work to support us and things like that. But ideally, if we can have some of those Friday evening tournaments throughout the year, or Saturday tournaments throughout the year, that lets our more interested kids have a chance to play and stay in it. So at least we've made the effort. So every effort doesn't see a lot of fruit, but in years past, we've had some big tournaments. We, just that we have discovered themes, and you can have a Halloween tournament and things like that, and that tends to pull out a lot of kids.
Right. Yeah, the kids love that. I know my daughters both love the Halloween themed tournaments. And so anytime you have some type of fun, event like that, then kids tend to enjoy it, and that's really good. It promotes chess. And it takes away from the seriousness that is, tournaments like this where people can be a little stressed.
Especially
I know
when two of their teams
I was
don't
helping
play.
my daughter prepare. Right. So there's a lot of prep that goes into these tournaments, whereas like the Halloween tournaments and stuff, you just kind of show up and play and have a good time. And so those are really important to have.
Over Park for several years, and I don't know if your daughters had a chance to play or not, but they've had a tournament called Pawns and Pajamas, and it's the last week of January or the first week in February, and kids come and wear their pajamas.
Right.
And it's the only tournament we've had that's had more girls at it than boys. Girls like to go in their pajamas and dress up.
That's what I hear. Yeah. So I have two daughters, and they both, Madison, not so much. She's in middle school now, but my youngest, Hadley, I mean, she loves anytime there's a pajama day at school, or if she can get like a reward where like, you can sometimes for being good, like for moving your clip up and stuff, they reward the little kids and they'll let them, come to school in your pajamas one day, or you can pick something else. Well, never fail. She always comes to school in her pajamas, even to the fact where my wife was saying that, we're going to have to start buying her more pajamas because she's going to school so much in her pajamas.
Yeah, little cute ones.
She doesn't want to wear the same thing every day.
But the Over Park Elementary Pawns and Pajama Tournament is a surprise hit, especially among the girls, because we really did want to encourage our girls to play too. And
definitely,
we didn't know it was going to be an event that brought out the girl players, but it certainly does. So
yeah, that's one of the hardest things that I've had. Like I said, I'm a dad of two girls, and keeping their interest in chess can be difficult because it's such there's so many boys that play it. And they don't, their friends, their current girlfriends aren't playing chess. And so they don't necessarily want to go to the chess tournament where they're going to be surrounded by a bunch of boys and not playing, not spending time with their friends. And so anything that promotes chess for girls or gets girls involved is something that I think we should be doing.
Let me,
it's very difficult to
Mike,
keep that focus
Mike Stewart is calling me on my phone, so I'm going to answer it. I'm going to block y'all a second and answer.
Yeah, this top board just dropped a queen here.
Yep, I saw that.
That's rough. I mean, there's a fork, but it's not. It doesn't recover nearly as much.
It's not compensation.
No.
I'll take that any day.
Yeah, absolutely. How are the other games going? Oh, wow, this one. Last time I looked at this, it was still like in the opening. You know how these games go. They're all playing too fast, even the really strong ones.
Yeah.
There's got to be forced mate in like 10 different places here.
There has to be, yeah. I mean, I know what move is screaming out to. Yeah, I see it actually. It's hard.
Okay, yeah, sure, you can win the queen. I think back here, bishop f8,
yep,
king
that
g5, probably h4 or queen d2. I mean, there's got to be mate, so I'm not really going to look for it, I think. But yeah, this just wins the queen, so that game should be over soon. Well, your daughter's up a piece.
Yep.
What was... Okay, won the piece earlier, trade pieces in a winning position. Okay. It's just simple algorithmic play. What do you do when you're winning?
That's right.
You trade.
Exactly. If you're up a piece, just keep going. That piece will be so much stronger in the end.
Right. I mean, because there's been many middle game positions where the extra piece doesn't matter, right? But like you just keep trading, and then it's like all of a sudden, oh well, I've only got pawns, he's got pawns and a knight. I have literally nothing.
Right.
So, yeah, this one's gonna be over soon. It's mate in one.
Yeah, it's unavoidable.
Yeah. All right. So we have one of our perfect scores already.
Blue fire.
We have another player, and they have a couple more that haven't shown up. I mean, they're having network issues a lot. In like Hernando Middle and stuff. I'm hoping this won't happen in future events. I mean, this is on IT. You know, they've got to get it together. I'm not sure. You know, someone mentioned that they had limited bandwidth and they're distributing all these devices.
We definitely don't want to blame IT though, because we have a certain amount of money dedicated to buying bandwidth and contracts, and we've just gone device to device before we bought the last contract.
Right.
You know, COVID has kind of messed some things up, and we've had the vision of going one-on-one device, but when we bought our last bandwidth contract, we had no idea we were going to do it today.
I mean, I worked in IT for a long time. Just because it's an IT problem doesn't mean it's an incompetence problem. It's often a budget problem or a logistics problem, but I mean, it's...
Yes, this is definitely a budget issue, but hopefully it'll be better if we get to do a elementary school tournament.
Right.
Hopefully. Because now we will know there is a problem.
Yeah, we should definitely do like a
And
quick
I'm trying
rehearsal.
to get Mike Stewart some information so he can get logged in. So I'm going to go away again for a second.
Sure. He's connecting the audio now, so it should just take him a moment to get into the call. All right, Mike, you're in. You'll have to unmute and start your camera. And Emily should come back because she's gone.
Here, I'm back.
Yeah.
Auditorily, I'm back too. But now Mike's not done this before, and he may not realize he's in because he was waiting on an email from me.
Yeah,
so let me call
now.
Mike.
But
he may not realize it.
Unmute. He's
Mike,
unmuted.
are you there?
Go ahead and try.
Hey, Mike.
Hey.
Do you have a camera on your computer?
Let's do it without the camera.
Oh, Mike, if I could sit here all day, and do this. But welcome. Mike is my dear friend, Mike Stewart. And as I told people a minute ago, I haven't looked this up, but I believe you to be the highest rated native-born Mississippian still living in Mississippi. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
Craig,
that's probably.
I don't know if you've passed Mike yet or not. Craig Siraj is here, and he may be hot on your heels, but but Mike, also, you have been a dear friend for a very long time, and you have this tournament would not exist were it not for Mike Stewart, and many people. But you were our first tournament director, and you had that role for maybe 10 years. I know you were directing tournaments when we were at the Civic Center. I'm just forever indebted to the wisdom you shared with me. But would you share a little bit about your story about growing up in DeSoto County and learning to play chess, and then how you got involved in coaching?
Well, yeah, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just great. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
That's good.
No. Okay, go ahead.
But anyway, I got involved. Jim Anderson and Brenda Ballard had a tournament for adults up at the library when I was in the 10th grade, and I went up there and got in it and actually won the thing. It was the first tournament I was ever in.
Would you say that was that 75 or 78?
No, that was probably 71.
Ooh, okay.
Somewhere in there. But anyway, it was a long time ago, and it was not an official tournament, but there was two young people in it. That's myself and another person, and the rest of them were older adults. So, and Brenda Ballard was my first tournament opponent I ever played.
Oh, wow.
And of course, she's very prominent in both this tournament here and in the speech that's in DeSoto County as well.
Yes. Her Memorial Fund started Speech and Debate in DeSoto County, and she started Knowledge Bowl, and she was certainly one of those people right there. We started this tournament by a friendly rivalry between South Haven Elementary School and Oak Grove Central, and then we kind of grew from there. But you were on the other side, Mike, so tell them about that.
Well, yeah, the local paper had done an article on my chess playing, and I ran marathons and played chess, and they'd done an article, and Sharon Walker called me at work and asked me to come speak to the class. And I came and I went and spoke to her class and Brenda Ballard's class. They were teaching the Spotlight program. And after we got through that day, I played all the kids in a simul. And after we got through that day, they asked me to be their chess coach, and then that started it all for me. That was it. And I tell you what, Miss Sharon was just her and Miss Brenda both outstanding.
They were.
A lifelong friendship with.
They
with
really
both
were.
of them.
They were both dear mentors of mine. And we lost Brenda about 10 years ago now. It's hard to believe. And Sharon Walker just passed away, and her funeral is today. And she's a beloved relative and mentor. But she was right there at the beginning, and she actually got you to coach her chess team. So that put me at a tremendous disadvantage, and she didn't feel the least little bit guilty about it. But we became friends pretty quickly because I needed somebody to direct our tournaments, because somebody had to figure out how to get the buses there. And so that was me. And I knew my job. And I said, I've got somebody else who can be a tournament director. So you were quickly given that job, and you seized the day and did it.
So. Tell you what, I really enjoyed that. I tell you what, I'm proud of the fact, we worked before we had the computer set up, and I tell you, we did the whole county with the cards, and we had some harem scarum times, but we got through it. Hey, we got through it, and they got on the bus on time.
That's right. And we were very worried about that bus too. We've always respected the bus shop, but like you had a lot of support at that helping you with those cards. Like, for example, Janet Osborne, who was a school board member for many years, ran the table, helped you run the calculating table, and Miss Darby and some others. Very helpful there.
It was, I tell you what, it was a community effort.
It was
outstanding crew that we all worked together and just for the benefit. And it just was so much fun. The kids are the ones that really benefited, and it was really great for the kids.
So many of those kids are adults right now. At the last tournament, we talked to a name you'll recognize, Morgan Wakeham, and she's now Taylor. And she called in and talked to us because she was the first girl to win our county high school championship. And she talked about that day that she beat that high school chess team, her former teammates. Do you remember that day, Mike?
Well, I wasn't there to see it, but I remember, hearing about that. And
you heard the wailing and gnashing of teeth from those boys.
I coached every one of those kids,
That's
one
right,
of
you
them.
did.
And at Oak Grove, and I tell you what, that was a lot of fun. And she finally, I can tell you some names that she overcame in that tournament.
Yes. Yes. What are the Darby kids and Matthew Burke? She beat Matthew. Of course, he was trying to remember that for sure the other day when I was talking to him, but I remember it clearly. So, but no, she's done very well, and she still plays chess. And she says her husband has this party game. Can you beat my wife at chess? And so she's still playing, Mike. And,
well, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. And I bet not too many people beat her either.
No, she's never had one of her husband's friends beat her. But now, Mike, you have been in and out. You've coached a team there. What was it like to be the father of one of our chess players?
I tell you what, it was. I loved it. I just coaching Erin, and she's a teacher at Lewisburg, 8th grade English, and I'm just proud of that also. But just a huge joy to be able to teach your own daughter or son, in my case daughter, and just and real proud of her. Her 5th grade the last year she actually played was the 5th grade, and she won 3rd place in the county.
That's
Real
awesome.
proud of that.
And Craig Siraj has that relationship with his daughter Madison now, and it reminds me some of, going through Oak Grove, voices, shadows of the past.
Oh
But,
yeah.
And you've coached people at the state level. Will you share a little bit of that?
Oh, my the kids have done so well at state level. Uh, they won the state 25 times, and just a joy to be at state and work with those kids and see their success at that level.
Mm-hmm.
And on the national level,
Mm-hmm.
they in different sections finishing as high as 3rd place
Mm-hmm.
in the nation. And it's just been a joy just to see those kids grow. And now they're some of them are close to 40 years old, so
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy.
Yes, they are. That we've grown old, but they it has been a real joy to watch some of them. And you mentioned that at the national level, students play within a rank. So within a skill set window, you can send a child off and they come back 3rd in the nation, and that's such an accomplishment and such a confidence builder. And I love being able to send kids to super nationals. Unfortunately, it's been canceled this year because of COVID, but super nationals is usually held in Nashville, and we can put a group of kids in a car and get there and give them an experience they'll remember the rest of their life.
Oh yeah, it's a great experience both there and at the state championship, and the county championship. Emily, you've done a tremendous job with this tournament, and it's first class all the way, always has been. And
well, we had some technical difficulties this morning, Mike, but no, but I think the point is it does take, in this case, I used to tell people it takes a village to put on a chess tournament, because you have to have all these volunteers and TDs and everybody has to take a day off work. And then I started speech and debate tournaments and learned that it takes a small city to put on one of those. But the chess tournament, my role was the logistics person. I figured that out real quick, and the cheerleader maybe. And you were my tournament director for 10 years, and then we passed it off to Connie Newcomb, and she did it for several years. And then thankfully, Jeff Bolheis has come in and done it for maybe 10 years now. So with these, these y'all are local heroes for giving so much time to the children of DeSoto County and giving them an opportunity and experience that they would never know about otherwise. And this experience and opportunity gives so much to each one of those children. You may remember the name Logan Schoonover. Do you remember Logan?
Oh, absolutely. She is a tremendous player.
She called in earlier as a chess chat and mentioned you, but she's now at Oklahoma University and doing very well. But the peak of her career was sort of middle school. And then she moved in high school, and she started a chess club in the high school she moved to in Colorado.
Wow.
So, but middle school was sort of the peak of her career. So I asked her to come back and talk with us, but she talked about how much it meant to her, and that's where her friends, the chess team were her friends. She didn't have very many friends, so she had the chess team.
Well, chess is so beneficial to kids and everybody, adults, both groups. It's just a great game and a lot of fun. And I tell you what, talking about Connie and Jeff, what a great job they've done with this tournament as well. Just outstanding.
Well, without the three of y'all, chess, we wouldn't have a tournament in DeSoto County. And now, Mike, chess is a recognized Mississippi High School Activity Association activity. It's official. And so it has the same status as football and baseball and band and cheer and choir and all of these other activities that are important to students and their rite of passage as they go through school. And chess has now joined them, and I'm so happy about that.
Yeah, I am too. I'd love to see them get a letter for participating like we used to in football as
They
well.
will. They will. Right now, it's an approved activity, but we've yet to have our first state championship. But they'll get a letter, and you know how like they have a little speech and debate, and they have drama. And well, we'll have a little chess that they can put on their football jacket, or they can put on their activities jacket. Yeah, it will be recognized just like everything else. So
Well, that is awesome. I tell
it
you
is.
what,
It is the lifelong dream of mine to see it recognized like this, and I'm. My career has seen it from the very beginning to the um, from me teaching a few kids how to play chess in my classroom to trying to help other teachers learn how to teach chess to kids in their classroom. So
yeah, you have really done an excellent job, and look how it's great. Look how this has grown.
well, we have it goes up and down. It goes up and down sometimes, and it depends on if the teachers have time and energy to devote to it that year. And with COVID this year, that has been enough to stress every teacher, especially our best teachers, have just been stressed to the max. And we know that. I didn't have to teach in this environment, so I can just feel their pain though. But they're still these middle school teachers have done what it took to give their students this opportunity, and they have my respect. They really do.
Absolutely, a great job by the teachers and everyone involved.
Hmm.
This is great for uh, the folks putting this on today. I think this is associated with the Memphis Chess Club.
Well,
Well,
it loosely associated. They helped us last time, but we are certainly fans of the Memphis Chess Club. And Jonathan, can you hear my voice?
yes,
Hey,
I
I know
can.
you're associated with Memphis Chess Club in some way. How are you? What's your association?
I work with them. I contracted them as an instructor. I run their programs and stuff like that. But at the
So,
moment, I'm running this from my private
mhm.
Twitch channel. This isn't from the
Right. So
Chess Memphis
today,
Chess Club
Memphis
channel.
Chess Club's not our sponsor, but they sponsored the high school tournament. And Mike, if have you been downtown yet to the
I have not been
oh,
downtown yet.
you need to grab some friends, like some of your buddies, like Walker, and some of your former students, and go spend an afternoon down there and enjoy a great sandwich or pizza and play some chess, because it is absolutely a cool environment. It is just very impressive. Um, you know.
Yeah, and Jonathan, I thank you for what you've done today as well. Absolutely. You
Mhm,
and Craig, just outstanding. And
mhm.
Emily, before I get away from here, I want to say, uh, I've taught all your boys and just about everybody who's related in the Walker family.
So yeah, you have you've got uncle status around us, and I consider you a dear friend, Mike. I don't get to see you enough, but you just need to keep coaching, and I get to see you more with tournaments and stuff. But we can't have a tournament without Mike Stewart. You were there from the very beginning, and you were the leader of the way, because I didn't know what I was doing, and but you did, and so you were very patient with a bunch of school teachers who just wanted to give this opportunity to children. And thank you so much for your patience and for being there for so long as the tournament director itself. So
I
thank
tell
you.
you what, it was very welcome, but I'm just glad that kids had that opportunity because you and I didn't have it going
Mm-mm,
up through school with
no.
chess and
And
not.
and Craig Siraj did not either. He just missed it, Mike. He just missed it by just a couple of years, probably.
But
So
my daughters get to experience it now, so it's all
that's
good.
right. That's right. That's right.
That's awesome, and I know you're getting a great experience. And congratulations! I think you're the coach at Oak Grove, correct?
I was until my daughter moved on to the middle school. I just kind of follow my daughter wherever she goes.
Well,
I'm
sometimes
sure I
Craig,
will be again when my youngest daughter
yeah.
comes in as well,
Well,
because she plays chess already. And
yeah. Well, Craig, after this is over, I need to talk to you about that a little bit. Because we can start an attendance zone model here, just like the Bull Heist do, and it's a wonderful, it's a good model, and it develops a lot of friendships for your kids that aren't necessarily your child's age, which is it's good for kids to have intellectual peers as well as age peers.
hmm
So you need all kind of friends, and some that are a couple of years older and younger is a good thing. So Well, Mike, I won't keep you forever, but I just dearly appreciate you calling in, and the time and energy that you have spent, and the friendship of 25 years. Thank you.
It's been my pleasure, and tell you what, it's all for the kids, and I'm so proud that they still have this benefit. And you're still running a great job for everybody involved. Thank you very much for what y'all do for these kids.
Well, it takes a lot of us, like Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan. And Alex King, he's not here today, but he's here in spirit because he helps too. So,
Absolutely.
Mike, thank you so much, and I will talk to you again soon. Thank you
All
for
righty.
coming in to chat. So.
You're very welcome. Have a great tournament.
All right, Jonathan, can you update us on where we are? Are we in round 3?
We are almost done. We have three games left in the tournament. We have our 3 winners: King Anson, Blue Fire Phoenix, and Craig's daughter have all won.
All right. Well, so we have 3 undefeated people. So it may very well be that one of these that we get down to one undefeated person. At the high school level, we had 1 student that was undefeated and about 9 people tied for second place, but we gave them all trophies.
Yeah, so this is a 3-way tie for first because this was the last round. So this tournament is concluded.
So I thought we had 5 rounds.
This is the 5th round.
Okay, that's what I thought. This is the so we've got a 3-way tie for first place. So all 3 of those students will get first place trophies, and then we will look at the and see how deep we may not give second place trophies this year, but we'll certainly give all 3 of those students first place trophies. And then it will take a while to look at these results and determine who the team champions are. But they will get team trophies, and their coaches' names will be engraved on their team trophy. So
that's great.
We are happy to be able to do that. And we think there's a memorial fund held at the Community Foundation of Northwest Mississippi. So if anyone's listening that would like to make a donation, we always appreciate small donations. Go a long way in the world of chess. And that's the group that will be paying for the trophies, is that memorial fund.
So Craig, checkmate or stalemate? What do you think? Here we go.
It's probably gonna end up. No, it's gonna be a checkmate.
It's already over. It's stalemate.
Oh, they already moved.
Yeah.
So there's a delay on my screen.
Here's a mate. Here's another mate. Here's another mate.
Oh,
that's the type of thing that makes a chess coach just cringe from the other side of the room. Just
every single check is mate. No, these 2 are not, because you could take the queen.
Right, just take it.
Yeah, but no.
But I mean, okay, they've got 2. Let them have one of them. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you don't need this much material. This is way too much.
It is detrimental, like you said. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for making this day successful. And my apologies again to DeSoto Central and South Haven Middle. I will see what can be done to make that situation better. But in the meantime, Jonathan, thank you for making this day happen. And you did it personally. I didn't even hear from you until this weekend, and you volunteering to do this for us. So thank you. Thank you. And Craig, thank you. I look forward to seeing you for many years to come.
You will. I'll be here.
All right, well,
not going anywhere.
We've got another 20 minutes to go. There's 2 more games.
There's 2 more games. I thought we were over. Hey,
no,
we've got winners.
We have our winners, but this is the second knight and bishop.
Wow.
Of course, this is a draw. There's no way.
There's
no way.
Well, now, I mean, technically, I know that it can be won, but I don't know that this particular player of white.
So Emily, I have seen 2,200 level players not get this right.
I said the exact same
thing. Witnessed it firsthand.
Yeah.
Well, I've spent some time playing with it because I've read that this is mateable material, and it is a difficult little puzzle to unwind.
Well, the right way to do it would be to play this. They just dropped the bishop. So
they dropped the bishop. So
you have to play this against an engine, because if you play this out against yourself, you're not going to defend correctly, right?
That's true.
It has to be the correct defense from the other side.
Much better. But I was just trying to work with the pieces in the time, and that's why I thought that the check needed to be with the knight. but apparently it can be multiple ways. I just worked it out where the check needed to be with the knight. That's what seemed to make sense to me.
It's usually the bishop that ends up giving the final blow.
It has to
Usually,
be.
but not always.
The only mate, it has to be the same corner as the bishop, the same
As the
color,
bishop, right?
and the bishop. I think, if the defense is correct, it should always be the mate is with the bishop move.
Okay.
I mean,
well, then
it
what do I
might
know?
be it might be
Obviously.
otherwise, but with
My
correct
job in this
defense-
is the cheerleader.
Like I said, my daughter and I went to a tournament in St. Louis, the St. Louis Open.
Yes, wonderful.
Which is the greatest thing about being a chess dad, by the way, is getting to go to long distance tournaments with your daughter. That's just
right.
awesome.
That
It's like my dream come
relationship.
true is getting to travel and play chess with her.
Yes.
But we were at a chess tournament, the St. Louis Open, a couple Aprils ago, and it was like round 3 or 4, and I ran upstairs and we were watching one of the last games, and it was a knight and bishop, and the guy could not do it.
Yes.
And this was the above 2000 level section, so I mean it was sad, but it happens. It's a very difficult mate. It's hard to find it, especially if you're in time pressure, and that was the issue here. There was time pressure. But
I have not been to the St. Louis Chess Club, but from what I understand, if you're in the city, and you're a chess player, everybody should stop in and see the museum. And
There's a chess
just like the
club
Memphis
right
Chess
there.
Club, you should always stop in and see it.
So I
Memphis Chess
definitely-
Club is on par in my opinion. Maybe not.
Oh, yeah.
The Memphis Chess Club is still in its infancy, so they haven't got as many events going on. But in terms of facility, they're right on
Yes.
par.
Oh, I love it. I think they've got a little bit different vision, but the Memphis Chess Club is very approachable. I mean,
Yes.
someone at my level, I think I would feel just comfortable going in there and grabbing a board and meeting a friend for lunch and playing a game of chess with them while there. And I don't think I would feel that intimidated by that. And someone at my level could feel very intimidated pretty quickly in certain chess clubs, but I wouldn't there, especially if I was meeting somebody that I knew and just it just happened to be something we could visit while we played chess.
Yep.
There's no need to be
I think-
intimidated. Okay.
Very
Worst
friendly.
case-
I agree. There's absolutely no reason to ever be intimidated,
Worst case
Jonathan. You're
scenario,
right.
you walk into a group of people that crush you 100 games in a row, and
That's right.
you
And
learn
if they're
from that.
over there talking about algorithms and I'm talking about half-powered lightsabers, it's still okay.
I would love nothing more than to be in a tournament or a group of players who could beat me repeatedly with little effort. What do you think,
I'm
Craig?
right there with Jonathan. I agree
I know.
100%.
Well, that's
I love
why
that.
y'all are higher rated people and I'm not. Because I don't mind. I could take a licking, but I guess my ego is comfortable with the 5th grade. Some of them can beat me occasionally. So my ego is safe when I play the 5th grade. So we have some students here, and we know who our top 3 are. So I can assure the coaches that those top 3 undefeated students will get first place trophies.
I'm trying to find that very last game that just finished because I saw the mate and then it disappeared, but it was queen and 2 bishops right in the middle of the board. Look at 3 queens, 3 queens and a rook. But my page is jumping around.
Like you said, 3 queens is a little. They were just being boastful at that point, or they were stuck on that old-fashioned pawn.
It's time for me to head out. I got to pick up my daughter from school. So.
All right. Well, tell her congratulations.
Congratulate her, Craig.
I will. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much for joining us.
All right.
Yep. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Whatever. I'll find the game later. It's not important. All right. So we are done. We have our 3
We are done, Jonathan. Thank
winners.
you.
I guess we'll figure out everything else. I'm going to go ahead and close out the stream now.
I will be finishing out, and let me assure the teachers that we will be in touch.
All right.
They know that from me. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you so
Anytime.
much.
See you
Take
later.
care. Bye-bye.